Hello. How's everyone doing? Welcome to episode 207 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please, young lady?
Well, hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. We have Hannah Claire here in the studio laughing.
Sorry, Brett is doing his best impression of like an irritated suburban dad. He young lady Mary. He gave me a look like, if you don't calm down, and like then went on with his way. It's making me laugh.
That is, yes, I follow a great Instagram channel called Rad Dad, which is just, it's
Of course you do.
it's
That's
all dad.
you can hope to ever be in life.
And if you
dad
guys
humor.
don't behave
Dad.
yourselves, he will turn this car around.
I will turn this car around right
I
now.
will stop this stream right now, lady.
And we will head back to the house where the stream started, and we will sit
start
there.
the stream again.
Exactly.
Just think about what you've done.
Exactly. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We are going to talk about first the Joker sequel and the what did we call it? The girl bossification.
It's gonna be woker
Basically,
than the Joker.
basically now anything with women is just girl boss.
I kind of love just blindly calling it woke, even though it's clearly not.
Yes, that's the best part.
It's just funny to me to call everything woke now that word doesn't mean anything.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Hollywood's continued obsession with sexuality in reference to an article about House of the Dragon and a particular scene that one of the main characters spent a very long time prepping for. Also in relation to stuff like intimacy coordinators, which I will never not get a huge kick out of intimacy coordinators. It's just HR. It's just an HR department, guys. And then after that, we're going to talk about The Little Mermaid again. I know. I didn't want to.
We had to do it.
I do feel like
They're like forcing us to do it. It's really the media's fault.
Every time we do it, I'm like, we're giving them free press. But at the same time, you know, we're here to entertain you guys, not make
It's sort of more of a compliment to ourselves to say we're giving them free press. Like, yeah, Pop Culture Crisis is just the biggest show in pop culture right now.
All the PR agents are like, they talked about us on Pop Culture Crisis.
They
Did
have
you
the
see?
coveted
It's
third
a get.
slot.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously, that's exactly what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. We got Podlock, we got a bunch of other stuff. But before we do that, I have to ask Hannah Claire a question.
What?
Oh no!
Did
hold
you
on.
see the second
Oh.
Fast and
No,
Furious?
I fell down on the job.
Interesting.
I'm busy, guys. No, I apologize. That one's on me. Although I did say it might not be a perfect every single week I'll watch it. I'll watch
does
the
not have to
second
be
one.
every-
I'll watch the second one this week. I try to time it so it's on the weekends so that by like I can watch it and then it doesn't interfere with my work, but also it's like fresh enough. Because if I
Yeah.
watch it tonight, I'm gonna have to like kick down the door and give you my thoughts on Friday or something. Because like I don't want to like forget.
Because they're so easy to forget, right? The Fast and Furious movies are just so forgettable.
I like timing it so that you guys get a reaction that is like fresh, but not so fresh that I'm like, this was a waste of my time, because I don't want to.
See, I want the it was a waste of my time reaction. I love those reactions.
we want the anger.
I'll just pause the journalism for a bit, and every day before I come on the show, I'll just watch a Fast and Furious movie. No, I know the second is next. I will watch it for next week. I will actually promise that this time, and I'll try and get better about it.
Promises made. Promises made.
If you guys don't know why I'm watching Fast and the Furious, you should go back to
Episode 200.
episode 200. You'll be in the know.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you ladies are ready, we'll just get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready.
Hannah Claire, are we ready?
I'm ready. Oh, I'm a writer for timcast.com. I don't think I said that this episode.
Yeah, we had a non-traditional intro today.
That's
I
okay.
like it. I like it. We're breaking from the typical order in which we do things. So we're gonna get right into it. So it says, this is a rumor, by the way. I'm gonna preface rumor, not fact, not reported as true, pure rumor. But
I'm
rumor's
reporting
fun.
it as true. This is a fake news podcast.
We cherish our fake news here. So it says, rumor, Lady Gaga front and center as Harley Quinn in Todd Phillips' Joker sequel. Basically, the idea here is like it's kind of like it's the skit, you know. It's like guys are out having fun, doing their thing, and women are like, we want to come along, we want to be part of the fun. You just can't leave the dudes alone. So we're going to have to girl boss this movie because
Are they doing a girl bossification on Joker?
Sorry, my favorite suburban dad saying we have to girl boss this.
No, what I'm saying is that this should be left in the man cave. In the, you know, if you're the suburban dad, you have a man cave. Leave Joker in the man cave. Don't take it to brunch. Leave it off of brunch.
You're mad.
I'm
This
kidding.
is the same reaction when you tell Brett we have to go to Target. He freaks out. He's like, not that place.
Actually, I love Target, so that doesn't count. You're wrong.
My favorite
Wrong.
suburban dad.
The real
So-
star of Joker 2 might not be who we expected it to be, according to a new rumor. Things have come out prior to the sequel dubbed Folie, which again means shared delusion, if I remember correctly. And a lot of people believe that what this is going to be is it's going to be how Harley Quinn experiences things with the Joker, which is why it will be a musical shown through her eyes. If they do this properly, it should be an extremely hyper-violent movie, all toned to like scores of music as she sings.
Yeah,
and
a
they-
bloody dark comedy
Yes.
musical. It sounds intriguing, and it's also breaking from the mold the same way that the first one did as a character study instead of a traditional comic book inspired
What kind of music?
superhero movie.
we know what,
that
like-
is a very good question as to what my guess is they would use
Like,
Broadway type stuff.
but like, are we going sort of more 70s? Are we going more like ragtime? Like, I would like to posit that this concept of a murdery musical could work, but it lives and dies with the thematic choice.
Oh,
of music.
absolutely. No, absolutely.
If it's too boring, then the illusion is lost. But if it's kind of like a weird choice,
What if it's sort of like an In the Heights hip hop inspired?
No.
die.
no.
So funny.
I'm-
I was being serious when I said ragtime. Like, I feel like having some like weird old timey rendition that's sort of pop would
As long
be
as they
Based
reveal-
on the teaser silhouette clip that Lady Gaga posted, it seems like it's more gonna like be that vibe.
So it says, apparently Joker 2 isn't so much a Joker movie, it's a Harley Quinn movie, Clement said. It's from Harley Quinn's perspective, and the reason it's a musical is because this is how she perceives her relationship with the Joker.
I think that's poor wording.
It could be. So it
That's-
says, when his ex-co-host Nick Mason queried, he said, like a romantic musical, Clement replied, exactly, which confirms to a degree, much of what we've been hearing, sharing with you. So I want to go into the second article now and just go straight into the, so the idea here is that it's a
Sure.
Joker movie, but because it's 2022, it can't be a Joker movie. It has to be a girl boss movie because you can't leave anything alone today. Am I wrong? That they
That could be sort of taking one detail and running with it. I feel like it could be poor wording that she'll take center stage in the movie.
And is every I guess I don't know the full definition of girl boss. Is every movie that's
Yes.
female led a girl boss movie?
now it is. Yeah, I'm just turning. It
I
into
mean, just
colloquial.
because it's funny to me, let's say anything whammon is woke now.
Yes, it
No,
is.
anything whammon is girl boss.
Hilarious.
Because
I know, and I think that's part of it.
I
But
love
I'm
being
wondering-
reductive.
for the fun of the stream.
Yes.
I want to talk about this second
Also,
article.
I guess I don't understand. Like, is she taking over his empire? Like, how is she girl bossing to the top of crime?
To me, it's just she's literally more the bigger character, which makes it girl bossing. Yeah, it literally has no rhyme or reason or actual.
It could be all just they're like living in Harley Quinn's delusional reality, right? The entire thing, and you never break from it.
So this is the other article that talks about the criticisms directed at Joker, which, if you read carefully, thank you, are actually just the critics are like, we're going to make those criticisms heard. If it's the last thing we do, nobody listened the first time around, so we're going to try again.
Yeah, the marketing for the 2019 film was insane, like swamped with
It's going to cause an
Basically, like,
incel revolution.
going all the way up to a straightforward incitement of violence
Yep.
from journalists,
So it says,
basically.
upon the release of the first film, critics were quick to point out flaws in many aspects of Joaquin Phoenix's movie, ranging from minor complaints to proper mass disapproval. No, if by mass disapproval you mean a bunch of loser critics online, then yes, mass disapproval. Which several critics reviewers claimed perpetuates harmful stereotypes. I take great issue with that saying now because it's literally designed to be criticism proof. You can't prove them wrong, but there's no way to prove it right either. It's just there. What does that mean? What is literally portraying any amount of mental illness on screen perpetuating harmful stereotypes? Does that mean you can only share with people good versions of a character that deals with something? The character isn't like that. It's literally, it doesn't glorify anything. It's a horrifying movie about the problems of mental illness. How is that
Right.
glorifying it in any way?
It literally shows that he is disconnected from reality and he has a valorized image of himself in his own mind.
Exactly. It says, however, Joker was admonished for a particularly controversial aspect that many fans of the story have debunked and argued against. It concerned the treatment of the women in this film. This was never an actual argument. Ever. Nobody cared.
Yeah, I don't even remember that being an aspect of the criticism. The criticism was about the fan base of the film
being violent, supposedly being called to violence. He's not violent against women.
Incel, gamer, whatever stereotype, like basement dweller, that type of thing, because they wanted this film to accomplish a social agenda for them. But it didn't end up doing that. And this film was widely liked. And also, like, it was great material for memes and jokes, and no one took it as some kind of manifesto for violence or civil unrest.
I think this line in that same paragraph where it says that the women are there merely present as plot devices is interesting. Like, if you are
all characters in a film are plot devices.
Also, if you are trying to depict this person whose descent is into mental illness and his relationship with the other characters, like, that would serve as plot devices, whether they're women or men, right?
So,
like,
because this is
it's a story about this one guy, so of course ultimately we don't have a ton of character development for anyone else around it, because so much of what he's experiencing is internal. To suddenly pay a lot of attention to a woman just for tokenism, just to be like, oh, see, we included women, like, that actually takes away from the aspect of the storytelling that's most important.
Yeah, it actually is showing how he imagine an entire relationship with this woman, an idealized version of her that did not exist. It's doing the exact opposite of that accusation, that it reduces her down to a plot device. It shows that she's a plot device in his own
mind.
And
what is
and then internal narrative.
I want to know what the hell accessorized inclusion is. Is there a non-accessorized version of inclusion?
They're accusing Joker of this, but actually every major picture that comes out right now does this with any representation of minority groups, right? How many DC Marvel movies could we apply accessorized inclusion to?
Well,
I think all of them.
It's only allowed if you're the good guy and the main character and the focus of the film. It's not the Little Mermaid is not accessorized inclusion. It's just inclusion.
It's interesting because he has a troubled relationship with his mother in the film and ends up smothering her while she's in her hospital bed. But equally, they show that he has an estranged relationship with his father, or at least who his mother lied to him
about who his father was.
Yeah, like lied to him about who his father was. So I don't see how that's gender specific. It's just showing that he's a troubled person with no close relationships and he's detached from reality.
Also, this article constantly conflates fans with critics because no fans were making these complaints. This was universally coming from
incredibly popular.
The critic side of things. Also, I want to point out, just because something is a stereotype, why can't that be shown on screen? Everything is a stereotype of something, essentially.
I think what they're saying
are the options either
didn't like the stereotypes you're portraying. Like, the fact that this film was popular for the reasons that it was is upsetting, because it leaves the cultural narrative that we are supposed to not want to, like, you can grant understanding to all kinds of people, but not to incels or not to certain groups, right? They are just too lost. They're too far gone. We can't try and depict them in popular culture, especially in a way that might engage the audience. People might want to go see this movie.
Yeah, any attempt to depict isolated men, especially young men,
especially young white men.
Yeah, it would annoy them that it worked out, that people liked it.
Yeah, it's reduced down to valorizing them every time, when that's the exact opposite of what this film accomplished.
By making Lady Gaga's character the central protagonist, fans would welcome a fresh outlook and a new story. Then make your own movie.
That's exactly what...
Then make your own freaking movie. By the way, she's not...
And your own character.
They're not protagonists.
Might I introduce this as a prime example of my sequels are bad policy, right?
No, girl...
Especially if the first movie is good and widely liked, leave it alone even more.
And you can have a separate movie that touches on the Joker character and things like that, but, like, So what you're saying is it's Joker 2, except it's featuring a different actress because it's about a different character told from that character's perspective.
Because a bunch
So
of
really
critics
it's about
told you it was
her.
bad.
What you're telling me is that you're giving me either a sequel to the Harley Quinn movie or a whole new Harley Quinn movie. We're not getting a Joker 2. To label it that is to acknowledge that Joker was incredibly successful and to want to ride the coattails of that in some respect. If you announced that Lady Gaga was starring in a Harley Quinn movie, it would not get the same attendance and attention if it wasn't linked to Joker. That's my thesis.
It says, which is at the same time
Theory,
would not
honestly.
compromise on Joaquin Phoenix's brilliant embodiment of the DC villain. So they're saying it doesn't compromise it, except for the fact that he's no longer the main character or the focus of the story or really all that important at all.
We're giving you a different
He
movie,
could be,
but we
though.
need the press of this other movie.
Like, it could be that this is just poor wording, poor framing of what the film is.
I think it's
aiming to
exactly
do.
the framing they want it to be. At least in this article.
I mean,
Also, this is the second article that's framing it this way, right?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, the first one.
this is like
categorizes-
over 2 years until the scheduled release of the film. We don't know how it's actually going to turn out or what landscape the film industry is going to have by then, except for the safe assumption that it's probably going to be worse in all of these respects, like endless sequels, endless spin-offs, everything derivative, and just riding off of an established IP coattail, like you said. I don't want to assume the worst because I think Joaquin Phoenix has enough faith in the 2019 film and his performance in that he wouldn't let them just totally trash it with an entirely new
They
vision.
also
I just
use the
think it
frame
should be
fans
their
are
own movie.
apprehensive. Bullshit. The fans are not apprehensive. Critics that didn't get their voices heard the first time around are apprehensive. Nobody cares about your weird social messaging that you want to push into this stuff. People just want you to make good movies.
What does it say they're apprehensive about?
I'd have to find that part of the article. But basically it says...
I mean, I would think if you're really a true fan of the Joker, you think the first one was powerful and meaningful and whatever initially, I think you could be apprehensive just to, present the other
Well-
side of it because you like the movie and making a
Yeah.
sequel could potentially damage the first movie.
And
right?
that's totally reasonable because now it's like, God forbid anyone identify with a flawed character and anyone with mental health struggles feels seen by them making a film about someone with those struggles.
Which is crazy because that's their number one thing. Oh, it's so important for people to see themselves in characters in movies and TV. We say this all the time in reference to other socioeconomic conditions, other racial conditions, but in this movie, it's not okay. Like, the facts are right there. Like, there's an obvious bias against this type of character, and I think that is disturbing.
Matters only reach a concerning standstill when the character is in itself is glorified, celebrated, and upheld by the audience without an ounce of objectivity to account for his flaws. His flaws are widely shown in the movie, and the only reason you're saying that he is glorified is because the movie is about him.
I mean, sure, some fans of the movie arguably glorified it as a joke amongst themselves because they're self-aware and it's funny to play into the hysteria that was spread by journalists and critics before it even came out and afterward.
That's what it says.
Right?
So it says, following such critical remarks, it is understandable for some fans of the film to be apprehensive about Joker 2. Not fans, critics. Not fans,
And it
critics.
wasn't even film critics. It was a lot of just journalists, like of mainstream publications, that were talking about a supposed risk, a real world risk of violence because of this film coming out. There were security checks at screenings of this film when it came out, and a huge scaremongering campaign surrounding it
By
that
the
was
media.
entirely astroturfed by the media. So it's not even the film critics that were the problem then, but after the movie, they wanted to twist it in that direction as well.
It really does feel like guys just can't have their own stories anymore. Like, you have to, like, tell the story from a...
I mean, that's the thing. It's not even like a guy's story. It just happens to star a man
but you can't do that
who
anymore.
struggles with his mental health.
Yep. Well, you can't do that anymore because that's...
And like his
what? promoting
his
violence.
imaginary relationship with Sophie, what is her name? Sophie Dumond.
Yes.
His imaginary relationship that is eventually revealed to have been in his own delusion the entire time. It, like, how does that use a woman as a plot device when it openly shows you in the film that she did not exist?
And any character, if you're not the main character, is a plot device. All characters orbit the
of
main
sorts,
character.
yeah.
Especially if
you
the movie's
can't
named after the
explore
character.
every single character
you
and
cannot.
all of their intricacies and flaws and strengths.
It's
Well,
a movie
especially
named
when
about the character.
Yeah.
And the movie is about
One
not
person.
his relationships with other people, but his relationship with his own internal psyche. Like,
Yeah.
this woman, the relationship that they have isn't even real. He
Yeah.
makes it up in his delusion. Like, this movie is about internal conflict. We don't need to be like, well, she doesn't get enough of a subplot. I don't understand. Like,
And it's the
she shouldn't.
violence is not exclusively against women in this film. It shows a lot of violence, I think, especially against men.
The stockbrokers and
Murray.
and Murray, like all of them, like yes. So
Yeah.
I read this stuff and I'm like, they just won't leave anything alone. You can't have nice things. We can't have nice things anymore. You're not allowed.
We can't even have mediocre, serviceable things
Exactly.
anymore.
Or at least it feels that way. It feels that way to me. So my interest is, to be fair, this is an article. The movie is, like you said, 2 years away. I am sure Todd Phillips can create something more than serviceable, but articles like this don't help. And the media knows that articles like this, they're almost using, I wonder if they're just using reverse, they're reversing their own tactics.
They're farming outrage, and they're anticipating it before it's even there, or before it's warranted.
This
for
does
sure.
the movie no favors. Even if this is what it's about, it does the movie no favors.
Why is it 2 years away? That feels like a long time.
It's a really long time.
Not
Yeah.
really. A year and a half.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, Joker
no,
came out
it's
in
over
2019.
2 years from now. when it-
2024.
That feels like a long time.
That's over 2 years.
That's not over 2 years. 2022 is like almost over. Like
Okay,
3/4 of the way.
stop with that immediately.
No, over 2 years until it's in
No,
theaters.
but what I mean is like,
2024.
so the
It's
first
almost
one,
2023.
October 4th, 2024.
Okay.
That's
So
two-
a
over
little-
2
a little
years
over
from
2
now.
years.
but like,
I find it weird that they're already promoting it and creating an entire mythology around it and what it means for society.
also, why didn't they hop on this sooner after Joker came out? Was it because
Right?
it's a bad idea to have a sequel? Oh my gosh, no way. I wonder
Oh,
if
this
it's
is
that.
absolutely a movie that doesn't need a sequel at all. In fact, but the concept of making it a musical, I actually liked until now they're saying like he will become less and less important.
It's because it's actually its own movie. Like I said, I'll return to this theory. If you announce in 2 years Lady Gaga will play Harley Quinn in a murder movie musical, it would not get the same attention unless it was linked to Joker, because Joker was a massive success. Like, that's just what it is.
I would actually like to see just an unknown named Lady Gaga murder mystery musical.
I feel like that's actually a cool concept in and of itself, especially since she has made this. She has, I would say, successfully transitioned to acting, both with connection to music and without. Like, no matter how you feel about the film she's been in, I think she actually has enough star power to kind of handle that. But I think they're so anxious about the Joker connection, and they have their own internal fears about, you know, people who came to watch the Joker movie, that they both want to profit off of it, and also they want to be like, but we're actually giving you something else. It's different.
Yeah. There are actually exceptions that, sure, like, did take the character and identify with it in a way that's destructive to themselves and others. Like, I don't remember all the details of it, but there was there not a shooter that
well, we have
attacked a movie theater back
after
when
the
Dark Knight Rises
when
came
the
out?
Dark Knight Rises came out.
That's a famous case. And then also, we just
Aurora,
saw
Colorado.
that a Joker impersonator from St. Louis got sentenced to 60 days in jail because he live streamed on Facebook threatening to hurt people while he was in costume as the Joker in 2020. That was like very shortly after the 2019 film that came out in October of 2019.
Yep.
So he introduced himself as the Joker on the live stream. He openly threatened to kill people in his close vicinity. Thankfully, nothing actually happened. He was not armed, and he likely was just in a very troubled mental state.
And identified with that character.
He identified with that character for that reason, but
Well,
that
maybe
makes
now
him
if
an
it happens-
exception, not a rule,
Maybe
right?
if it happens again, he'll just make a musical rather than make threats. Maybe he'll just sing next time around.
And, you know, I think that he was well-meaning.
The guy in this case.
Yeah, like, I think he was just very detached from, like, how other people were perceiving him. He said that this was, like, his attempt to bring awareness to, like, the mental health crisis and, like, opiate addiction or something. Like, he does have a criminal record, yes, and he's a troubled individual, but, like, why does that make him or other rare exceptions representative of every fan of the film who I may have identified with certain aspects of this character?
I think stuff like this will stop a movie from getting made.
No. I mean,
if
this
so-
didn't get enough issues.
If there had been a tragedy, do you think it would have stopped? I don't think it would. I think these properties are worth too much money to stop them from getting
No,
made.
I think that's what they wanted to happen.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I think that would have given them more. I mean, all publicity is good publicity. Is like, I'm not sure I agree with it, but that is how they operate. And I think they were looking for some bad publicity, and they were looking for some danger and controversy to surround the film.
Yep. Well, I think the media did it because the media didn't like the narrative of the movie.
They all but incited or
Yes.
completely.
I don't think the studio wanted that. I think the media wanted that because the media didn't like the narrative around the film.
Yeah, I think
the
they-
studio kicked the media out of the premiere.
Some people suspected that they would actually craft an entire hoax attack or threat on people seeing this movie. Like, it was a very big thing at the time.
Proves you how ridiculous our culture is now.
Yeah. I think ever since COVID happened, people forgot about, like, certain, I don't know, cultural touchstones that happened right before it, and that was one of them.
Proves you how ridiculous the world we live in now is. That this is a matter of controversy and that the real world implications happen for stuff that's clearly fictional. It boggles my mind sometimes. So,
Yeah.
super chats.
Sean Razig said, your cell phone, computer, microphone, all of the bones in your body, anything that emits a radio signal is at least 65% silicon dioxide quartz crystal.
Well, you learn something new every day.
I love science.
Is this Ian's sock account?
That could absolutely be like, how much. Well, what percentage of that is graphene? I ask you.
We need to know.
I ask you.
Johnny Derp said, a Joker musical not about Joker? Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah. Well, is
They
it
just
that
have to.
hard?
It's actually just a different movie. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're like connecting it to Joker, but they don't actually
because
need
they
to.
don't have the guts to market it on its own.
Yeah.
And they need the straight white guy with mental issues.
Well, they
to-
need an
to make it
enemy,
work.
right? They don't want it to be like this prevents Lady Gaga from potentially being, you know, not a strong enough lead or whatever criticisms you could theoretically throw at a product like this. It's like, well, actually, the crazy incels came and they wrecked our ratings. Like, it's 2 years out and they're already like trying to be like, but if there's a problem, it's the original movie's fault.
It's not her fault. It's the guy's
It doesn't
fault.
put a lot of faith in Lady Gaga because people really liked her acting and like a new style of music that she's ventured into recently, and they're not giving her any of the credit because they're forcing her to ride off of the name recognition of the first movie.
Wait, explain that again. Say it to me one more time. I missed
They,
that.
well, they're not putting a lot of faith in Lady Gaga
Yeah, I
and
know,
her
right?
star power and her talent. People love her acting and they love her voice, and this is forcing her to use the publicity of the first movie when I think that she could stand on her own.
I think if they more confidently marketed it as like,
Yeah.
Lady Gaga stars in Harley Quinn murder musical, like,
But at the same
people
time,
would
they
watch it. It's just not.
They
they've
could've
kind
done-
of already
audience.
desecrated the Harley Quinn
Yeah.
character
Well,
with the Margot Robbie films.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, like if they did this, if they got Todd Phillips again and they didn't make a Joker sequel and they made it a Harley Quinn movie, they'd be like, "Oh, you're just using, you're still piggybacking off the success of the first one." I think that it would still get the pushback.
See, I would argue that the Harley, I've never seen any of them, but from what I know, the Harley Quinn movies famously don't do well, right? They're like, I
Well,
have not heard of one that
Birds
was
of
like,
Prey was terrible.
Birds of Prey is terrible.
I mean,
I've never heard of one.
She was
being
in
like,
Suicide Squad, and people didn't like the first Suicide Squad.
but they liked
very
her in it.
much.
She's the one.
She's good,
her
but
and Will Smith are the
she
only
was
ones.
like-
but it's
in
like
it.
Rocky, right? There's not a clear breakout. Harley Quinn movie is great, from what I know.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting to note about Lady Gaga's career is when she transitioned into acting, the first big one was A Star Is Born. A Star Is Born, that was like the third remake of it, and all of them struggle at the box office. That was actually considered one of the most successful renditions of it. And a lot of it is credited to Lady Gaga. Like, that's why it was so interesting to see her transition to film. Even if you didn't like the movie, that is the pattern. So theoretically, Lady Gaga has the power, especially since she actually is a pop artist, to come on to an ambitious project like this and really do well, because we've seen her do that with A Star Is Born. But what they're saying is, we don't have enough confidence in this project. We want the connection to Joker, but we're afraid of the Joker's fans. We want the Joker revenue, but we want to somehow skate through any fall of connecting to, like, to acknowledging that was a success.
I think there's some conflation there, because this is not the studio releasing these statements. This is a random article being written by a random outlet releasing these statements.
Yeah, but where are they getting their information from?
I think they're drawing their own conclusions.
But
from
where
the
are they getting their
information.
baseline information from?
We don't know.
Well,
we
the
can't-
they're getting it
podcast,
from
the
PR.
podcast that started the rumor said, we have a very reliable source, almost as if it were a joke. So,
I mean, that's fair.
who knows at the
This
end of
is
the
all
day?
rumor.
Theoretically,
We're so far ahead of
I mean, like I
the
said, why
release.
are
Like,
we
have
having this
no
conversation
idea.
2 years in advance?
Yeah.
But theoretically, it would be PR agents from the studio telling people about this, right? So, like,
PR and marketing departments are ruining the film industry. They're the ones that. How many movies do we
where
see
is
that?
Dane to throw darts at you?
How many of the movies have we seen where they advertise it horribly, and then the movie just ends up being kind of okay?
I like it when you watch a trailer and you're like, oh, that seems kind of interesting, and then you watch the movie and it's nothing like the trailer.
Well, that's like one of the hardest things to do. There's certain genres of movies, thrillers especially, are extremely hard to market, because it's hard to cut a trailer that's interesting in the same way that you can for an action movie or a horror movie or a comedy. There's movies that fall in the in-between categories there. That Jennifer's Body is a great example of a movie that was very hard to market at the time that it came out.
I think that wasn't made for a 2009 audience.
No, it was made for a now audience.
Yeah, it was made for today.
made for now.
Sadly.
So,
Rogue Nomad said, "Love you guys. I listen while I deliver for FedEx and finally caught you live. What's your thoughts on two older movies to check out, Strange Days and Enter the Void, two of my favorites?"
we might have to. I would like to do an older movie review segment on here, but it would be very hard to do live. We would have to coordinate with people that guest on the show. With new stuff, I kind of accept that we're not always going to be able to get the guests to watch everything that we watch. But if it's something older and it's been out for a long time, it might be good to do an older movie review and maybe throw it at the end of Podluck or something like that, or the start of Podluck.
Yeah.
We used
once
to
a
talk
month.
about, like, maybe on Fridays or something, doing a segment where it's like what you should watch this weekend, and whoever's on the show can reference, like, a TV show, a movie from any time period. They're like, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend this. I feel like there are ways to incorporate it. But have you seen the two movies
I
you
have not
mentioned?
seen them. I
haven't
did
either.
watch. I watched Demolition Man this weekend again. That is because have you seen the videos of the automated Taco Bell deliveries?
No? What?
Like they have like these crazy automated Taco Bell
What, like
drive-thrus.
on drones or something?
Well, they're like on. It's like all crazy looking, so that like no hands touch the food when it comes through.
It's
the,
like a car hop,
like as a
robot.
COVID
and
precaution?
but it's super mechanical and
Wow.
high tech looking. But in the movie Demolition Man, there's a fast food war, and all food becomes Taco Bell in the dystopian future. So
That's not a dystopian future.
that would make Mary very happy if all
I would
food
be
was
Taco
Taco
super
Bell.
Bell
excited.
expanded so that they have, like, actual restaurants that serve alcohol. I
They
can't
do?
name them. The
Oh,
Taco Bell
they've got,
cantinas. And
Here?
like Vegas and like Miami and stuff like that. There's
Yeah.
not a
Well,
ton of them.
that's like what they're talking about when they're saying in the movie they go to this big gala dinner and they're eating Taco Bell. And
I would love that.
I'm telling you, Taco Bell is. I agree with Mary. Taco Bell is on its way.
Yes.
Can you name a McDonald's that sells alcohol?
Yes, I've been to yes
What?
in Spain. McDonald's sell alcohol.
All
What do
of
they
them, or
What do
just
they
some?
sell?
I don't know of all of them, but the ones I went to,
Like
it was
cocktails
beer,
or what?
Beer. Yeah, I drank beer
That's
with
so
McDonald's
funny.
in Spain back in the day. It was
Wow.
I
incredible.
contemplate this.
I mean, that was because it's Europe, not
Much to think
America.
about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caper2X said, "Sounds like a concerned PR campaign to me, Mary." I'm not sure what I was saying when you sent that. I'm sorry.
I just want them to make the damn movie and let him be the star of his own damn movie again. Maybe that's what bothers me.
I think
she can easily be a main character in the movie while it's still a Joker movie.
Yes.
And I think that's very much a possibility, and that they're just wording things wrong, or like so-called insiders who stay anonymous are misrepresenting the situation.
Or maybe they're actually just developing a Harley Quinn musical murder movie with Lady Gaga, and they're confusing it with a Joker sequel.
That would be better.
I would prefer that, just in case anyone on the inside is listening.
Yeah. Aardvark219 said, "We're watching Cobra Kai season 5. Like Fast and Furious, the show has become self-aware and awesome. Hannah, I don't know who Hannah is, watches Fast and Furious. Brett bleaches his hair, so 10 parties for Mary to spend the day getting carts at Walmart.
Not for 10 parties.
That's never happening. I'm sorry.
She might put one cart away if I begged her for 10 parties.
Dragonstalin 1001 said, "Dear PCC goddess Hannah Claire, bring on the apocalypse asteroid."
Now, how does she do that?
What?
How do you bring on the apocalypse
What's
asteroid?
the apocalypse asteroid?
He's saying you're bringing it on. You're the one who would know this, not us.
I guess she is saying, or
I'll take it under consideration.
She
I
is
do.
Dragon's
Who said
Talon?
it?
Is Dragon's Talon?
He's saying like you should hit the big red button that's under the table at the PCC studio.
Oh, I thought he was just me being like, sequels are the death of culture. The end is nigh. Like, I feel like I can get kind of...
That is kind of your thing.
Yeah, I feel like I can get kind of doomsday about like Hollywood and the production. And I will say it, I've said it before, I really feel like different companies setting up shop in other states away from the silo of Hollywood is a positive thing. I think not just for like cultural, political reasons, but as... think of all the artists who have movies that like do well at Sundance that we never hear about, right? Like there are so many different kinds of storytelling out there, and Hollywood is essentially giving you frozen dinners, right? They're just heating something lukewarm and serving it to you, and you guys keep going back to it.
It's like frozen in the middle, but like lava hot on the outside.
But you already did the work, so you're gonna see it. Like
make it, just don't make it girl boss.
They have a place in the world, but you guys deserve better. You deserve fresh, organic art. No, just kidding.
Adam Mattis said, "It's fascinating to view all this through the culture lens from an RTS game. Opponent making cultural gains. Bam, Joker 2.
I would like to see them focus less on culture and more on just individual storytelling. It seems like the focus goes away from storytelling and becomes more about the cultural impact. I want to see them get back to just telling individual stories and not hope to franchise everything and not have to have everything have a bigger meaning for society. One thing they always talk about in these is
brainwashing is working.
No, it's got nothing to do with sequels. It's got to do. I don't want them to make these things as if it has to have some big meaning for society. I don't give a crap what this movie says about society. I don't give a crap what it says about the relationship between men and women. I don't give a crap what this relationship says about incels. I just want you to tell a damn story from start to finish. Make it, release it, let the movie live and die on its own merits. It doesn't mean anything bigger. You are not that important, Hollywood. Make your movies. Shut the hell up.
It might mean something bigger, but it should only be unintentional what it says.
When you try to do it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think we should move away from the macro lessons, right? Instead of lessons that can apply to everyone all the time. It's like, I like art that gives me a glimpse into people's lives who are different than I am. Like, we have this idea that everyone needs to be represented, but what if art and music and movies gave you an insight into a life and a connection that you aren't organically connected to? Like, that is just as valuable, but it's hard for Hollywood because you have to talk about things that they would rather not show because they think showing certain views is endorsing them, and I just don't think that's true.
Also, when they tell you that it has this meaning, I say F you. Like, when they tell me it's got this larger meaning, I'm like, I'm purposely going to not take that lesson away from it now because you said that's what it means. Go to hell.
I love how spiteful you've become.
At Hollywood, yes, absolutely.
And it's funny how, like, in a culture so atomized and obsessed with individuality, we can't, for the life of us, have a single individualized story told.
I don't think our culture is
that's
more
not
focused
connected to a huge web of existing IP.
I feel like individuality is no longer a core tenet of our society. I think it's actually the opposite. I
mean,
collectivized society is actually where we're headed.
The idea of it is what we valorize, but in reality, it's not being executed.
I think we have this weird we pretend like it's individuality when actually everyone's conforming, and really what we cultivate is selfishness. Like, we want you to be self-absorbed, but we don't actually want you to develop your individual identity and
Well, Hannah
roles.
Claire, that's self-care.
That is true. I forgot.
That is self-care. If you ever want to just be really, really narcissistic, full of yourself, and not do anything for anyone else, just tell everyone it's self-care. That's fine. That's what society
Go
wants
off,
you to do now.
Queen.
Exactly. Thank you.
Rhaegar, defender of translucent mermaids,
Matt Walsh would be very proud of that.
he said, make the movie trailer narrator guy great again. Was he never not
was
great?
he never not great?
We don't really have him anymore.
Did they do away with him?
No, there's a couple
For
of them. There's,
sound effects
There's
and-
more than one. Listen to the you guys go to the Aeronauts channel and listen to how to make a blockbuster movie trailer, and it's literally the same trailer.
Bwah.
And it says
Bwah.
it says low bois. Bwah. It says heroic call to action. It's like, that thing that we said would never happen. Well, it's happening. And it's the whole trailer is super generic, and it doesn't reference any movie, but it's every trailer you've ever seen in your entire life.
I love it.
Goofer Trooper said, I come to you once again while I should be sleeping. Broke and after another rough night of work. Let's go.
Thank you so
Do you
much.
work the night shift?
You must work the night shift.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in. Like that stuff always. I try to explain to people how much it means to me that people actually like watch and catch us live. Like
Wild to me that we would be the podcast that lulls him to sleep after
That's-
work.
as
Like,
we're
this
like-
is anything but calming, right? We're yelling at each
Down
other.
with
and
Hollywood, and I'm like, shut up,
talking
guys."
about the
Yeah.
apocalypse.
Yeah. And Hannah Claire's over here like, death to sequels.
The end
and
is
I'm
nigh.
just like,
The film industry is over.
it's not that deep.
Walker, Texas Danger said, Brett's anger gives me strength. Well, there's our answer.
It gives me strength as well.
Do you feel like you've become more like bitter and angry since going blonde?
I've become more bitter and angry since doing a podcast about Hollywood, but I love it.
Do you think that we could dye your hair a color if we get
No. Well, because if we do that, then I'm going to get even more. I'll probably become kind of like misandrist if you dye my hair a certain color. I'll be like anti-men.
You're going to turn into Froskerin.
Yeah, I'll be
What
Frost.
if we did like a fun pattern, like maybe a nice leopard print or something?
No.
The idea has been floated.
I don't understand.
Let us know what color you guys want Brett to dye his hair while he still has the chance.
It's never going to happen. And by the way, I've learned my lesson about like agreeing to things while I'm doing
Just do
two
something
things at
on
once.
brand. Pink, purple, or green. Pick one.
Neither. None.
But if you had to.
What if we put like
hypothetically,
like a
purple.
a P and a C for pop culture, or PCC, pop culture.
Oh,
crisis?
that would be awesome. We do one
Oh my
purple,
gosh,
one
it's
pink,
for
and one
marketing.
green.
Come on,
That's
Brett.
maybe purple and blonde if I was on my deathbed.
How
and that was
about
the only
purple
way
on
to
one
save-
side?
No.
What about a split dye? It's pink
Actually,
and green.
the pro wrestler Seth Rollins used to have like all like black hair, and he had one blonde streak, and that actually looked pretty cool. But his hair was like shoulder length.
This
so.
could be you, but with a pink streak. I don't
It's
understand.
never going to happen, guys. I'm never going to agree to anything ever again because that happened that one day.
I really snuck it in.
You know you like being blonde.
No,
Don't lie.
no,
Don't lie.
or do I?
Why You Came said, I'll be signing up on the site soon, but consider this as back payment for all of Hannah Claire's great articles.
Oh,
Heart
thank you.
Crisis Pod.
Thank you,
Dude,
and Hannah
thank
Claire
you so
says
much.
thank you.
Yeah, I really
I'm
appreciate it.
mansplaining for Hannah Claire.
I don't know if anyone knows, but I write for timcast.com. Click on the read tab.
Also, there was I
I'm
didn't
gonna
even,
promote the website that I write for, I guess.
we didn't even get into the absurdity in the article yesterday. We covered Ezra Miller yesterday because it's pop culture crisis, and it wouldn't be
And
a
of
week
course.
if Ezra Miller wasn't talked about. But there's a point in an article where they talk about how he bought a bunch of kids' Nerf guns, and then they explained it as he was mansplaining guns to children. And I almost died laughing.
Well,
and it
he
somehow
He also
didn't
carried around Nerf bullets in
his
his
pocket.
pockets. Like,
For protection.
He sounds-
unexplained.
He sounds like a
I'm
magical.
gonna spit them at
He
people.
doesn't even sound like a real thing anymore. He sounds like a creation.
I almost sent you this article, but there was one that was like the Ezra Miller story keeps getting darker and sadder.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know we said that 3 months ago.
Yeah. We've been
This has been like your
ringing the alarm.
I think you have though. I feel like this was like when everyone else was sort of like not really paying attention.
We're
to
the
story.
Ezra Miller truthers.
we're basically the Ron
No,
Pauls.
I feel
of,
like
we're the
No,
Ron
I-
Pauls of the Ezra Miller. Oh my god!
I think you low key broke this story. Like you guys for months have been like, this is not okay. He is deranged, and like Now
Live
everyone else is like,
updates.
we really need to know about this. Like,
Yeah.
you guys should be making the rounds on other pop cultures, like telling everyone about
Honestly,
the saga.
though.
Here's a fun fact. One of my favorite libertarian humor libertarian meme pages followed me back, which I consider to be a big. So maybe now we can have our own version of Ron Paul was right all along. Like it's just a picture of Ezra Miller and says pop culture crisis was right all along. Like,
I want
that's
these libertarian
us.
meme pages to start making T-shirts because I would wear libertarian memes as a T-shirt all the time.
it's-
You know why they followed you back? Because you're blonde.
I
That's
think.
why.
Well, I thought it was because of the cultural
They
reach
saw
of our
who-
amazing podcast.
Who is
that
this
we've-
cute blonde in my
yeah.
in my follow list?
Yes, that's well, you know, it's
How many people have complimented your blonde hair? And
more
your
than a
DMs?
few.
Have you gotten scouted on the street for any modeling
Oh, yeah, of
agencies
course,
yet?
yeah.
Brett
all the
doesn't leave
time.
the house.
They're like
Don't
they're-
expose him like this.
they're like you
I think
don't
we
have
all
to
know
be,
he's got the
Okay.
vibe. No, I'm
yeah,
just
they're
kidding.
like, you don't have to be tall, just blonde.
You
what
could
they
do
say.
commercial. It's fine.
Yeah.
I
Be a
really
hand model.
I really think that you should do a full photo shoot and post it officially on your Instagram.
No,
Because you've been posting your skating
No.
videos, right?
I do. I post
So is your blonde hair featured in your skating videos?
Do
my.
you post any static images or only videos?
I used to post static skating images, but now just videos.
Skate content only.
We gotta
I have-
diversify the Instagram content.
I don't know if that's ever
From
going to
you,
happen. I there's a divide
I feel
there.
like you have a
between-
pretty serious brand. Like,
I would
you've
have
been
to
serious
create a
about these.
separate page, probably.
He has been doing you skate every day and post a video of it, and you have been doing this for 4 years?
Not anymore. Not since I started the podcast.
I don't know, but,
it was
but
for over
quite
2 years.
a
It was for
still.
2 years, but yeah. I actually have a backlog of videos, so the blonde videos will be catching up in two episodes.
Oh,
So,
great!
yes.
Wow, can't wait.
People are watching right now. Like, what the hell are they talking about?
As
You
soon,
guys
if
move
you
on.
follow Brett on Instagram, as soon as he posts a skating on British
Oh my God, hot blonde locks.
only talk about the blonde in the comments. Say nothing about skating.
Yeah. Dragon's Challenge 1001 said, Mary, my pronouns are sausage link and kielbasa. Just saying. Okay, I deeply apologize.
There is-
Probably put that
sausage
in your
link.
username.
There is an amazing episode of the show. Okay, no, actually, the episode's kind of awful. But there's a hilarious scene in an episode of Leverage where it's the fake. Have you ever watched Prison Break?
Yeah, I've
seen
one
Prison Break.
episode.
How unrealistic
bit.
the prison scenes are there. Well, this is perhaps
How would you know? You've never been to
3,000
prison.
times less realistic than that. And in the show, they give the guy and he has to get an earwig from his team while he's in prison, and they do it by giving him a kielbasa, and the earwig is in the kielbasa.
They just hand a
and all I can
kielbasa?
think about is some poor production assistant had to freaking
Also, do
Language.
had to do multiple.
Yeah.
had to embed an earwig in multiple
a-
kielbasas
in
so
a-
they could take multiple takes.
I just every time I'm like, that poor bastard.
I would love to have someone who's been a lifelong PA who worked as a PA for a long time come on the show and talk about the weirdest things they've had to do.
That'd be fun.
I mean, I want to hear those stories from Dane.
Yes, yeah. Well, I did production assistant work too, but not for a super long time, and I didn't have to do anything particularly. Mine was on a much smaller set, so commercials.
We
and
need
such.
Dane to release his tell-all memoir one day.
What would it be called? What would a Dane memoir be? Well, it wouldn't be in
marketing
English.
man extraordinaire
Yeah.
TM.
It would sound much more beautiful, and it would be
It'd
in,
have to
in
be
Spanish.
in Spanish so he can fully express himself.
Yep.
My Ninja said, you guys could film Hannah Claire watching Fast and Furious, then put a timestamp for the movie, and we could watch along with it.
What do you think?
We talked about this when we passed the crisis parties. and
Amazon Prime.
I was doing it. We talked about maybe doing so you don't get copyright strikes, a camera on me as I watch this movie and just clipping to
Her
me
face is just.
losing interest or being that doesn't make any sense, or when I look really engaged.
I would love
So
to
never.
know. So never.
I tried to very intentionally not pick up my phone when I watched the first one, and I did find myself occasionally picking it up to look at it and being I wonder if there's a distraction count or something
Okay.
here.
I have a theory.
I don't know that it would be as interesting as everyone thinks.
I have a theory. Okay, so we've been reviewing Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power on here.
Yep.
And have you ever noticed whenever we're talking about it, we're it's fine, but just not fine. It's not really all that good, but it's not bad enough to turn off. I
Sure.
believe that Jeff Bezos purposely, I think he's got the money to do this. He somehow found a way to make a show that's good enough that you'll put on, but not good enough that you're actually engaged with so that you will actively pick up your phone and go buy stuff off Amazon Prime on your phone while you're watching the show at the same time. I think he wants you to be both buying stuff off Amazon and watching his show.
He wants a mediocre tier engagement.
They made a really good version. You think, they're not going to pick their phone up if they're watching that. That was really good. Galadriel wasn't a piece of crap right there. No. Make Galadriel crap. Make everybody sucky. And then they will both buy weird Lord of the Rings stuff off Amazon.
Yeah, they need to add some product placements in there that make no sense.
Well, I would add that by now, if you're a regular Amazon user, you get Amazon's Lord of the Ring packaging, right?
Exactly.
So now watching.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
Watching the show reminds you of the last time you got an Amazon package, which reminds you that you meant to order something else, and so it becomes cyclical.
Yeah. I do that. I admit.
Jeff Bezos crazy.
Goofer Trooper said it seems every episode I catch has Hannah Claire in it.
Well, is that
You probably watch on Tuesdays. Hello.
Tuesdays must be your favorite day to watch.
Let me tell ya, I'm a Tuesdays gal, as it turns out.
There is a rhyme or reason to who's on.
We had a
each
couple
day.
of days that weren't things swapped
Thank
for a while?
you.
Weren't things swapped for a while recently because of
I was out of town one Tuesday, so I wasn't here one week, and I came back last Tuesday. And then when Mary was touring the world, I sat in for a long time, and that was chaos for everyone involved.
But it was so much fun.
Well, the thing is, what we used to be, I loved it. It was a great time. But also, you should keep reading the names because I can't pronounce anything. When we were pre-recorded, I would record. It seemed like I was Wednesday, Fridays because I would record Tuesday, Thursdays.
Yeah. Yep.
And then when we went live, I switched to being once a week.
Let's do one more, and then we will move on to the next segment, and then we will get back to the super chats.
I don't know
where
why
we
I
left
told
off.
everyone that history of my schedule.
she's like, I'm here to overshare with you.
They're happy to know.
I give you an update on my life.
Action Man said, Hannah Claire, you've been in a coma for 6 years. We are trying a new technique to communicate. We do not know where in your dream this message will reach you. Please wake up. Your family misses you.
Oh, that could be
What?
that could be a fantastic movie premise right there.
I was like, is this
Send that one to pitches at timcast.com.
I'm sitting here like, is this a movie reference that I'm clearly not going to get? I'm glad that Brett didn't get it either.
I mean, maybe you are in a coma.
Well, it's
Come
gone
back.
so far.
We miss you.
I don't know. Do you guys miss me?
We
I'm trying to think about
miss
what I was
you.
doing 6 years ago without it like have cross-sectioned my coma. Maybe I'll write a short story where that's true and
That's a
tell
good
you
idea.
guys what I did instead.
All right, Mary, do you wanna introduce this next subject? We're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about Hollywood's ridiculous obsession with sexuality.
Sure. So, Fabian Frankel, which is a lovely name.
I love the name Fabian. I do.
A House of the Dragon actor who plays Sir Christian Cole. Is that how you say it?
Sounds right. I'm only
good
up
enough
through.
for me.
He recently,
I am up through episodes. I'm finally up through episode 3. I'm not caught up all the way.
I heard
to 5.
episode 4 is the absolute worst when it comes to like just repeated sexuality over and over.
3 wasn't like that, from what I remember. It was like the bad.
4 is what I've heard all about
All right.
from the media. So he recently told Entertainment Weekly that him and the cast and an intimacy coordinator that they worked with prepared for his sex scene with Rhaenyra Targaryen for 7 months.
I mean, that's like
What does
preparing
that
for your
even
SATs.
mean?
I don't know.
I literally am picturing him in the mirror, like looking in the mirror at himself, like practicing,
like
pretending to
American
have-
Psycho
yeah,
style.
like he's like slicking his hair back. And,
literally just thrusting into the air. Like, what does
that's
it
actually what
mean?
I'm- that's what I'm
what does
picturing.
it all mean?
I
I don't understand. These people are crazy. And like one thing that the girl who played Rhaenyra, what was her name?
Millie Alcock.
She reportedly asked, how do we make this human? Which is such a lizard person thing to say. Like, all of this just sounds like lizard people activities.
I do not human very well. How do I human
How
better?
do we make human scene where intimacy happens?
Well, this is also the same that whenever I call out the vomit-inducing term when they're like, I was just looking to find the truth of the scene.
I
It's like,
hate it. I hate
I don't
it so
act
much.
to act. I act to find truth. And I'm like, you act to sound self-obsessed, narcissistic, and full of yourself.
Like, it's pretentious even if it's just an emotional dialogue scene, but when it's a sex scene that adds nothing to the plot,
Well, humans have sex, so it's already human. Sorry.
how is that warranted? Anyway, I'm just going to read the ridiculous quote from Frankel where he said, We talked about it for over 7 months. It was one of the first things I was very keen to talk about.
Very keen. He wanted. He's like, as soon as Millie Alcock got hired, he's like, I can't wait to talk about sex scenes with her.
Now, it seems like Frankel wanted this to be awkward to watch. He said the big thing for me was about it not feeling like another gratuitous, sweat glistening off their back sex scene, because it's just not like that. Anyone who's ever had sex will tell you it ain't that beautiful. It isn't some picturesque, amazing thing. It's awkward, especially when you're young. There's an uncomfortability that one has to sit in, and there's a discovery and understanding of each other's bodies.
Also,
not to mention the practical side of the whole thing.
Also, this is another person we could get, the poor PA who has to be there with the bottle. That has to spritz the actors, the sweat bottle person.
Love that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Just after he inserts earwigs.
Yeah, he's like, I got my kielbasa. Right. I've got my sweat.
But those two are trading war stories. And it's like, I think I'd rather do the kielbasas. Like,
and they're like, no matter what, we can't leave a Starbucks cup visible anywhere on set.
Dude,
please.
You know that they probably hired a Starbucks cup whisperer.
That's just their entire
It's just
job.
A basic bitch white chick from the suburbs.
Who's so good at spotting the Starbucks.
She jumps on people if they leave a Starbucks cup anywhere.
She's like, I can smell pumpkin spice lattes from a mile away. You're not getting away with this today.
So clearly it's Frankel's goal to make this not hot, right?
I really believe that when he was done, he's one more take Frankel. He's just like, I think we need to shoot it one more time.
He said, I remember back and forth texts, back and forth phone calls, back and forth meetings between Claire Kilner, myself, Millie, and our intimacy coordinator. And he said that he wanted to specifically depict how long it would realistically take to remove his armor. So in the show, in the 4th episode of House of the Dragon, they're showing first an incestuous kiss scene between Rhaenyra and her uncle Daemon.
Yep.
After that happens, she comes home and decides that she is going to lose her virginity to Kriston Cole, who guards her door at night.
Why?
I don't know.
Well,
I just don't know.
Clearly, Uncle Damon got her going.
Got her rejected, and now she's like, well, I'm just going to lose.
I guess that's
also,
a rebellious thing.
Have we ever introduced this character before? I don't get this plot point at all.
No, in the guards are supposed to take an oath of chastity.
I don't understand how it serves the plot, or how showing him removing his armor for 10 minutes would serve the plot, but
I want to know what the name of the group chat was. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. We gotta think of what.
House of Banging.
I feel like he's trying to be weirdly sex positive, be like, no, I'm like.
But also frame sex as the worst thing ever.
Also, it just comes across as creepy.
Right.
There's not a version of this. He's trying to sound like, no, let's be realistic. Sex is like this, and we're we don't want to make it too glamorous. And
he said
it actually sounds very skeezy.
It's about the struggle in every way. The struggle to get the armor off. The struggle of him to betray his vows. That's how I wanted to pitch it.
There's something to be said, okay, about the idea that he has this sense of duty, that the character has a sense of duty, honor, and has took an oath to not do this. I can see the storytelling, the beauty of the storytelling there. There's not 7 months of beauty and storytelling there. I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, how many conversations do you need to have about this?
He's like, no, tell me that again.
Is he a major character?
No. He's not one of the main characters.
This is him trying to become very important. He's he knows sex scenes are kind of something that gets discussed.
They share a forum
or House of Dragons a lot. He's this way I'll have a big point to the media and people will remember my name. This comes out after the whole thing about the girl who was 17 and she he is kind of jumping on I'm talking about intimacy coordinators bandwagon for publicity, it seems like.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe this is introducing him to become a more major character in the future of the season.
Yeah, I feel like it's a minor actor being he could just be conversation,
grabbing for attention, which is it is creepy because it involves somebody else who has to simulate having sex with you on camera, and it's not just about you. It's not your scene, right?
It's their scene.
I don't know. He said there's no way this armor comes off without the help. Knights would have squires, and squires would take off their armor. For even a world quality squire, you've got 10 minutes to get the armor off. Let's say 5 maybe at best. Like, he's done the research. There's no way Rhaenyra and Cole are going to take that armor off in 10 seconds. So I was like, well, you have to have that in. It's important that that's what it is. It's important that it's a struggle to get the armor off. We get it. It's heavy.
Any number of ways that this could be cut and edited around in post-production. It's not
I'm going
that
to
deep.
stand by my other theory of, like, he's a minor character. He's not an established actor. So he's like, well, you can't make the scene too short because it would mean... we'd have to take
then
off
I
my
have
armor,
less screen time in this big show.
Like, this is how you
Well,
it
plus
up. I mean, like, it'd be really hard to get my armor off.
This is a creative decision
like,
only.
This guy is just trying, and I applaud the effort. You know, it's not that I necessarily agree with what's going on, but like,
He's just a clout chaser.
this is about nothing.
It's like you're besmirching my honor. I am
he's
not a
trying to be
1 minute
on
man.
screen
I am
more.
at least a 2.5 minute man. is
No,
what
that's
he's
not.
saying.
This guy earned more screen time by just pointing out the armor thing, which like not that I agree with everything that's going on here, but like that's crafty. You've got to acknowledge.
He's kind of saying, whether or not he's genuine in saying it, he's saying that if a sex scene isn't uncomfortable and awkward to watch for the audience, that it's archaic and cheesy.
I mean, is that a weird denunciation of the act of sex being an actual means of like two people who actually love each other, showing each other how much they love each other?
Yeah, he's only
almost
emphasizing
laughing
how
at it.
uncomfortable and weird he thinks sex is. It's just
I feel
weird.
Might say more about who he is as a person.
Yeah,
than
betraying
about-
his
No,
own
see,
feelings about
I feel
it.
like it's similar to criticism. Like when you read criticism of like how easily accessible pornography is, like one of the things is it gives both, especially young men, but men and women, an unrealistic expectation of what sex is like. And the same criticism is often applied to movies, that seems like perfect lighting or it seems like whatever, and that it creates this disingenuous understanding of sex that ultimately harms intimacy between partners. You know what I mean?
Nobody has
So
been left
I
in the lurch
kind of
more than
could
pizza
get
delivery
that.
men. And
Yeah, they have no idea what's going on. I kind of get that aspect of it. It's just that, like, I feel like this is actually some guy who's trying to stay relevant. Like, maybe that's a mean...
Possibly. It's also intimacy coordinators perpetuating the need for intimacy coordinators.
It's like the bloated...
Because otherwise they would have no job.
Yeah, it's like the bloated administrative state of the movie industry.
So Miriam Lucia is the name of this whole show's intimacy.
Still waiting to find out if there's any male
Who
intimacy
probably-
coordinators.
Like, I want to know if
The
she
answer is
bills,
no.
if she bills by the hour, right? So the fact that they had 7 months worth of conversation, she's like, yeah, keep it up. Let's talk about
Yeah,
it. The
like,
armor,
let's
the
get my
buckles.
salary.
I charge by the group text.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that would be
She's
hilarious.
on call.
she's not salaried. She basically gets paid like a consultant. So she's like, yeah, keep texting me.
Because they talk about her like she is a therapist. These actresses and actors talk about her like she is an on-set therapist and like consultant at any time they want. So Sean Bean of Game of Thrones, we already covered this, but he said that intimacy coordinators and just coordination of intimate scenes in general, quote, spoils the spontaneity of those scenes.
Well, that's one of the classic. He's like, I'm getting to the truth of the character, and the truth is we're having sex.
Yeah, and like I'm not sure I agree with his take on it
I
either,
know, right?
they're
both.
all just weirdos. But
I see his way as being more of a time long forgotten, and like
that's kind of what they're saying.
The lawsuits are just
Yeah.
too new. It's like he's just appeared back in society now and forgot Harvey Weinstein was even a thing.
Yeah.
Or that any number of directors or Cary Fukunaga.
That whole thing, yeah.
He's like, I live in a world where none of this happened, and there is no need to
like
check
good
up
for
on
you,
me.
I guess.
Well, there is no need for you to check up on me and make sure that I'm not, getting handsy with the actresses. He may be the exception, but
It was
he's not
also
the rule.
funny that his excuse was being a true romantic because he's been married like 5 times.
I'm truly romantic all the time, 5 times every 5 years.
He's really pulling an Adam Levine scene. He's just crossing boundaries everywhere.
Yes, Adam Levine got caught cheating on his.
Ooh,
Right?
Unconfirmed.
Scandalous.
But that is the claim.
Well, no, the thing I saw was it said that he didn't have an affair, but he did cross the line. I was like, does that mean like he just
whatever that means.
he did the lady once, but not more than once, which qualifies an affair as an affair?
We'll
also,
find out.
The lady's name was Sumner.
And then he messaged her and was like, if my baby's a boy, I want to use that name. Is that cool with you? That's like the whole thing. Everyone's like,
Yikes.
Sumner is not a real name. It's just Summer, but you sneezed in between.
I think it's a last name because I've known a couple Sumners, but they're
Yeah, no,
always from the South.
Anyways.
There is a Sumner.
The House of the Dragon intimacy coordinator wanted to respond after the fact to Sean Bean's comments to, I believe it was the Sunday Times. She said, I love him as an actor, and I've just watched Marriage. He's great in that. They always have to qualify it, like any director, any actor.
He's fantastic.
They're great in that. They're great in this and that, whatever.
But
he said, I just think he's a man of a certain age who has been in this industry for a very long time, and he doesn't have an experience of the other side. Or maybe he's had a bad experience of working with an intimacy coordinator. All I would say is that in my experience so far, I don't think it gets in the way of the creative process. I think it helps to enable the creative process because once you've worked out what the actors are comfortable with in terms of touch and consent and what the movements are going to be, then you add the emotion to it. And then you find the freedom because you're not scrambling and fumbling and trying to find it there and then in the moment.
those sound like contrary
I have no
statements.
idea what I just read.
The point they're making there
I
is-
invented myself a job.
yeah.
the point there is, well, it's just a HR rep.
It's just like
You're
the
just-
more
you're a special-
uncomfortable
I just-
everyone is, the more reason I have to be here and get paid to be
I just
here.
Googled this girl. Her name's Miriam Lucia. She has a website. She's an actor, acting coach, and intimacy coordinator. And she's been on The Crown. She was in Guardians of the Galaxy. And
Has she
and
played
Mission Impossible.
anyone notable?
I'll look at it. I'm
Let's
not
see.
super. I mean, I watched The Crown, but I don't really know anything else.
I don't actually disagree with anything she said in that first
It's
part
at
until
least
the
not
part about
condemning
freedom.
him the way
Yeah.
that Jamila Jamil did.
Jamila Jamil sucks.
Or Rachel Zegler
Rachel
also
Zegler
came
sucks.
after him when he said those things. And like clearly he's just like clueless about the shifting sensitivities in Hollywood and he has his genuine opinion. I'm not sure if I even agree with it, but at least this intimacy coordinator hadn't she gave him a fair shake, right?
He has more power over the intimacy coordinator than he does over Jamila Jamil and Rachel Zegler.
She has
right.
basically looked like she's been like kind of a background character.
Yeah.
Like on The Crown, she played an Australian TV reporter.
Okay.
Okay.
I looked her up initially because I wanted to see like how does one become qualified to become an intimacy coordinator?
Yep.
You know,
It's an accredited thing now in
but
Hollywood.
I don't see it. Like
She's-
she's been a dialogue coach, a dialect coach,
Okay.
and then the first time she's listed
Have
as an
you had a
intimacy
lot of
coordinator
sex?
is
Sign up
in-
for a position as an intimacy coordinator.
See,
It says like on a TV show.
my
is what
guess
it
about
says.
intimacy coordinators was always that they are not just that, they also have been on set for other reasons
Yeah,
and
I
done
mean-
other jobs, and they're just like they choose that as one of their freelance.
They're HR.
They
human-
are
I
they
just
are
wanna know,
essentially
like,
HR reps
They're
for
like you're
the studio.
agreeable and you're around. What makes you qualified to be an intimacy coordinator? Like it's not even clear to me that she herself has performed in an intimacy scene. Maybe she doesn't need to be an intimacy coordinator, but like just as a pure like out of curiosity, like why?
Imagine-
And what she claims she does, it's interesting because it sounds entirely impossible. She said, "We have to pretend that we have never done this before. We have to suggest that everything is spontaneous. You have a script, so you don't come out with these words spontaneously.
That's just
You have to
literally
work
acting.
on it so that it appears to be spontaneous." That's where it doesn't make sense to me what he said about Sean Bean's comments. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to make those scenes, but my take has always been that those scenes cannot be done correctly, and they also don't fit. They don't make sense in storytelling. They don't actually advance a plot. They're usually done for like seeming risque in the promotion of the show and making up headlines just like this one.
Two of my favorite shows of all time, White Collar and Burn Notice, show almost no scenes like
And
that.
it's not that they lack.
Burn Notice is fantastic.
It's
You
not
were
that they
saying that
lack
week, I was
sex
crying.
appeal or
No.
like a will they won't they
Yeah.
thing.
Well, in that show, he's has an on again, off again relationship with a main character named Fiona.
Yeah.
And then she starts dating someone in season 3, and then they finally like hook up again in like an episode in season 3, and you don't see it. You don't need to. It's not important. It's my
Because
story.
that was like made in a more sane time, which wasn't even that long ago.
And it was made for like TV that had commercials, made for cable,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
and now that streaming's taking over,
Can
it's
permit
not like
different
that
things,
anymore.
They're like, whoops, no ad to put here.
Now
Guess we
they're
better put naked people.
mandating
That's
these
not new.
nude scenes.
That's
and
been
nudity.
going on for a long time, but yeah, that's very much a network thing now, where they're like, that's great, but could you do it naked?
And it's creepy. And like we said, they had a 17-year-old on their cast agree to do a sex scene before she even was a legal adult. Like, it's crazy the things that they are doing in broad daylight.
Or the girl
and
from the first Game of Thrones
who grew up on the set.
who grew up on
Like,
set and
that's
then
so creepy
did
to me.
it at the end. It's like totally normal.
Maisie
freaking
something.
weird.
Maisie Williams.
She'd been on Game of Thrones since she was 11.
So
And it went on for
gross.
so long that she got old enough and they were like, we're going to have you do a sex
like, that
scene.
is the definition of grooming.
That's so creepy. I mean, like,
I wonder if she
feel
was
bad
on
for
set
everyone
during.
involved.
I wonder if she was present during the scenes that they filmed. I would love to know how they did that. If that was closed, I'm assuming those were
know.
closed.
Usually
Closed
intimate,
sets.
like sex scenes are filmed on like extremely closed sets.
Okay, so fun.
Hopefully, yeah.
Fun. This is great. It's like I said, could they just get back to telling decent stories and not make it about bigger social issues and not make it so gratuitous all the time? I don't
No.
care. The gratuitous like that doesn't bother me, but I do think it gets in the way of storytelling. Like, I'm not prudish and I don't really care if they do it, but I've found that 90% of the time
Well,
it's taking up time that could be spent on more aspects of the story.
I think they're the prudish and rather puritanical ones because they want to sanitize depictions of intimacy to the point where they're not even seen as sexually appealing anymore, but they're seen as like awkward and uncomfortable
because that's
and
the truth of
painful
it.
to watch because you're
the
getting to
truth
the
of it.
truth of it, like the struggle. I think they're the anti-sex ones. Like, they're anti the appeal of sex.
The pretentiousness of it always.
They're
is-
anti-hotness,
kind of.
like in every way. The media is now anti-hotness.
And that is a bad thing.
That's what we were talking about with G4 TV. Like, you can't even be casted on
No,
network
no.
television for being good looking anymore.
Well, that's a problem.
What's
You're-
going to happen when news anchors are like, they decide news anchors shouldn't be conventionally attractive anymore?
That's a problem. Like,
Has that happened yet?
I
don't
follow
know.
a couple of like, it's really funny.
Is this the last
I follow,
bastion
like-
of like hot women on TV?
I follow this one random like report. She's like an anchor for like a news station in San Francisco that I will never see, and I'd never even heard her talk because I just watched her like TikToks and her Instagram
Because she's hot.
because she's hot. And she makes funny videos.
What happened to that?
She makes funny videos where she makes like Instagrams, and her co-host absolutely hates it. Like the co-host on the show, and all the videos are of him just being annoyed by her being like, and I found that endearing and fun. And then finally heard
Who do you
her-
identify with in that scenario?
both of them.
Are you the girl or is Mary the girl? Like,
Wait, are we news anchors now?
what I'm saying is like he's the grumpy coworker. We're like, Brett, bleach your hair, change colors, and he's
Definitely, Brett is the curmudgeon of this show.
That
even
would
though
be-
I have all of the opinions that a curmudgeon would have, and you're like more free spirited
Yes.
and like care about letting people do what they want and live their lives as they will.
See, how hard is it to define people when we can't even honestly define who we are in such simple terms?
Well, like, your personality is the curmudgeon, but I have all the curmudgeon-y opinions.
You're like, I'm a curmudgeon.
That's why we make sense.
Yes. Mary's like, I'm a curmudgeon. That's what her personality is. She's like, hey, I have extremely curmudgeon opinions.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do whatever you want. It's fine. I don't care.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah,
Get off
basically-
my pop culture lawn.
Exactly. That's see. One day I will own a lawn for no other reason, so that I can like. I don't want to become a homeowner for the American dream. I want to become a homeowner just so I can tell people to get the
the
hell off my
curmudgeon
lawn.
dream.
I can't wait.
Yes. I'm gonna put a sign in my driveway that says "Get off my lawn."
Goofer Trooper said, Brett and Mary ranting is strangely soothing.
Well, yes, of course.
Really?
Well, it's
Are
you
you
know,
still awake? I thought you were like very tired. You
See,
stopped working or something.
We're not as comforting and
See, I think that could be like
soothing
if
as
you
we
come
thought.
from a house where your parents argued a lot, maybe that's what it is. Like
Whoa.
my parents argued all the time.
I get what you
Is
mean.
that what we sound like?
We're-
This is an old, disgruntled, arguing married couple.
Like I can hear my parents. No, I don't remember if that's what I actually heard from. Like,
No, but it's like if you grew up in the city and you're used to traffic and noise.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If you go suddenly start like living in a more rural area,
My
it sounds-
parents
We
loved
sound
each
like
other.
two
It was a joke.
schizophrenic homeless people fighting outside of a New York apartment.
That would be great. Well, I'm like over here, like put your cart back. Mary's like, it's my cart that I live in, and I'm like, put it back. You don't have a right to that cart. And she's like, it's not a cart, it's my home. Nah, that's us. That's us.
Potatoes for Seamus said Brett totally do hot pink blonde and Brown a true Neapolitan for his time.
Would you do your Neapolitan like brown, white, pink, or would you do it like?
I think a
sideways?
mohawk of blonde still remaining would be cool.
Sort
and then
of
we've
like a
got like
split
brown
dye,
on
but,
this
like-
side, pink on this side.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Okay, no thoughts on
No
that.
He didn't say no.
comments.
He said he didn't say no.
No
He didn't say
comment,
no.
but
No.
you didn't say no.
It's not a denial.
Never.
It's too late. You already
Not
said no
in a.
comment.
I would rather do mint chocolate chip.
So we are doing
Mint chocolate chip.
I said I would rather not. I will.
Oh.
So you have your own idea of what
You're
you
giving
wanna
us
do.
some ideas.
I'm not doing any of
So
these
we're
ideas.
doing mint chocolate chip.
I will leave my hair the color it is.
That would be so easy too.
Oh, so he likes
Just
it
make
blonde.
it like I would get green dye and then mix it with like some conditioner so it's like a light
Diluted.
green tint, and then we could just put some brown dots
I would
all
rather
over,
just
and
grow
you're
it
like
out.
an ice cream cone.
I would rather just grow it out to shoulder length and have blonde tips just at the ends.
You're gonna
Whoa.
be so he
Your
does.
Samson moment.
So he does like the blonde. That's what I'm saying.
See, yeah,
I
he
want to
doesn't wanna
keep
get
it the
rid
color
of
it is. Don't pretend I didn't hear you.
Bobcat said, I still think Mary would be a better Harley Quinn than Lady Gaga. Mary just looks like the kind of girl that has a giant hammer under her desk.
Maybe I'll buy you a giant hammer. I mean, your
Whoa.
birthday's past, but Christmas is coming.
I would say it's my birthday month, but it's not my birthday
It's not
month
your birthday
anymore.
month anymore. So maybe for Christmas, I buy you a giant hammer to put under your desk just in case.
Cool. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Or like a baseball bat to do the Suicide Squad Harley.
There you go.
Yeah. Bad App said, I want a Barbie movie countdown next to the meter.
Oh yeah, when is that coming out?
There was an article.
I think it's like July 2023, right? Or June.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So here's like, wasn't worth a topic, but I do want to point out that Margot Robbie made a like had a thing.
No, she said about like the paparazzi pics that came out from some of the scenes that they were filming in LA.
She said that was
the most humiliating thing she's ever experienced.
Can you imagine a career filled
She's
with?
been very sheltered. I
Can
guess.
you
She said you
imagine
can't.
a
She was
career-
like, me and Ryan Gosling were so mortified. You have no idea. And I was like, that's the most embarrassing thing that's
said,
ever happened in your career.
Imagine
Really?
a life filled with so many W's, with so few L's, that the most embarrassing thing that came
crazy.
out to you is a non-touched up picture of you looking extremely hot in old 90s
where they
apparel.
both looked really
Fine.
good.
Yes, that is a life of nothing but W's.
I was
for
like,
Margot
are you
Robbie.
as puzzled as we are?
I just feel like, man, your life has not been that hard. If
No.
that is like, did she say it was the most embarrassing thing? Or
The
she was
most humiliating thing she's ever experienced.
just, girl.
Maybe this is just
I
a
guess I'm
symptom
happy
of like
for you. Like,
people
that's the
speaking
worst
in
thing you've ever
hyperbole
experienced?
all the time now.
Oh my god,
seems
this
crazy.
is-
I even just did it. I said people speak in hyperbole all the time.
It's the world. At least Lydia's not here to tell me when I'm wrong when I say literally.
Literally.
She likes to tell me when I'm literally wrong for literally using the term literally, like literally all the literal time, and and I find it very frustrating. I'm like, nobody wants a grammar Nazi on the show with us.
Bring back calling someone a grammar Nazi.
Oh, it's a
by the
great
way.
one.
That's a great one.
Maybe we have to use grammar Yahtzee because you're not supposed to say
I think
Nazi.
you just say like
Okay.
grammar Antifa, right? Like
Yeah.
they threaten to burn you down if you what? We're not
Graham
making the show
Tifa.
political.
We're going to
Tifa.
workshop that.
We'll work on it. We'll get back to it.
Caper2X said, can we discuss Hannah Claire's undercover role in Kanye West's school infiltration project? We still don't know if she can handle the Dewey system. So distressing. Yeah, we were talking about Kanye West's private school, the Donda Academy, yesterday, and our plan to infiltrate it.
And I did
where
mean
you're
to-
gonna like pretend to be the librarian.
Do you have
Nice,
a?
nice,
Do
I
you
love
have? You look like
I
somebody.
thought
who would
about
have
getting
a,
my master's in library
Oh,
science.
You
And-
look like somebody who would have at least considered a career.
Did
in
they
the
say
library.
Dane should pretend to be my father or
Yes,
you? Okay,
Dane.
Dane should like enroll me as
And
a
I would-
student in the school.
And I want to point out that I do want to that I could have pushed back more yesterday. I could have that in a world now where teachers are wearing giant fake boobs
Why
to
are
school.
you infiltrating it? Yeah, I was
And
gonna
anyone
say,
who doesn't know that story is like, what the F is Brett
so
talking about right
basically,
now?
you should go to timhouse.com and look it up.
A teacher wore giant fake.
I mean, habitually wears giant prosthetic boobs in a
to
public
school in the name of what, equity or something stupid like that.
No, transition, like the
Like a
teacher is theoretically
transition.
transitioning.
Okay, so
And the school came out behind the teacher saying, for equity.
in a world where that's a thing, maybe the unaccredited Donda Academy isn't all that bad.
Nipples
It's fine.
protruding, very disrespectful.
It's fine.
I mean, like,
Um,
if it's unaccredited, basically the kids would be signed up for essentially homeschooling.
Yeah.
And they're working as like a co-op, which is like,
yeah, but he
all
is
good.
claiming to be a college prep school, so you do need to be accredited if you want to advertise that way, right?
usually, yeah.
Do you think
I mean,
that,
theoretically, anything is prep for college.
so if you were to go to the Donda Academy, I bet you their school uniforms are bussin', as they say.
No, they all get them out of garbage
They have
bags.
to all wear like all black all the time.
Just-
It seems a little depressing for kids, right?
Yeezys. They all wear Yeezys. I bet.
I
it's
just
awesome.
feel like it's more about the image that the parents want to project.
Yeah.
And a feeling of like elitism and exclusivity. And then for Kanye, it's not that, but it's that he's so vision oriented and doesn't have the practicals down. And he hasn't acquired
Thank
the
you.
staff that can make that vision a reality in the day-to-day sense.
I really
of it.
do think, like, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Let Kanye, let it go. I don't like our education system is
I
so
don't have like a
broke.
beef with his idea.
Our education system is so broke. Like, maybe it's just because, like, if you follow Project Veritas or you follow James Lindsay on Instagram, you will be scared shitless into ever sending your kid to any school again that's not private school, right? So I am aware of my own bias that, like, most of what I see involving school now is nothing but bad news. So I say, in that respect, let them go to Donda Academy and
It's a good
and
idea
learn
and a good
parkour.
intention. I just think like he needs the right staff to
Yeah,
pull it off,
I
and
think
he doesn't have that yet.
Basically, like, he's an ideas guy, and
Yeah.
you need someone who's behind you with execution, especially when it comes to schools. There are actually a ton of alternative schools out there, and I think in some, like the Blue Man Group. Do you guys remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They have a school in
Oh,
Manhattan.
really?
And it's like,
What?
yeah.
Is
it's
it like a magnet school?
What?
It's like preschool through maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. It's a
Huh.
private school, and it has its own philosophy. Like, you can become a
What
school.
the hell is the Blue Man Group school philosophy?
I don't remember.
I need to know.
Can
I'm
be
looking it
blue.
up.
It's like probably creativity and like free thought. I don't know. But yeah, they have a school.
A
As far
K
as I
through
know.
12 is way more ambitious.
Where is it?
It was in Manhattan when I remember looking at it. The other part, so like, I think homeschooling is on the rise, and to me, what Kanye is doing. We're off topic because I don't have an article about this, but like,
Yeah.
Elon Musk famously started a school in the Tesla factory so his kids could come and he could be more involved in their school. I don't actually know if that was ever accredited or if it was just like functionally what he called his homeschool program.
I don't know if this is that school, but it says the Blue School is an innovative, independent school for students
The Blue
aged 2
School.
through 8, located in Lower Manhattan. We're a community of educators and families who believe the undeniable capacity of children. We know that in education that balances academic mastery, self and social intelligence, and creative thinking results in capable, compassionate, joyful young people.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm now picturing the Blue Man Group dancing as they do this. Like, yes, let's go.
I just wonder, like, how much direct involvement do they have in the day-to-day
There's not even any
operations
pictures
of the
them.
school?
I have no
Because
idea.
Kanye doesn't have the time or capability to
Yeah.
be intensely involved with it, and it's in its beginning stages, and they've had staff changes, and they were hiring people last minute.
Yeah,
it's an interesting situation.
Yeah.
and I want to see whether it works out for him.
Me too, because I think really what's most interesting about it, like Kanye gives it the commercial sale where he gives attention, but like if he's partnered with someone who's interesting and like can actually get a cool program. I love the idea of alternative education. I don't believe that the public school system best serves students, the majority of students in this country, and so like if you're able to create micro schools or co-op groups or whatever else that's out there, like cool, do it. No, personally, I don't think Kanye West functionally day to day should be the one running this.
I want him running it.
You know,
I want him there. Yes, I do.
he should at least be supplying the uniforms, which would be probably very comfortable.
That's
and
what he's
expensive.
doing.
I want him there teaching all the classes all the time. Just Kanye.
But the real question is Kim gonna pull her kids who are in elite LA private schools and put him in?
Well, currently their kids are doing both, right? Sierra Canyon and Donda.
I don't know.
They're doing like half and half.
I
At
think
least
they're
that's
only
what he
at Sierra
wants.
Canyon right now.
No,
He really
two
wants
of them are
to-
at her all girls private school,
The Catholic school that they went to?
Brentwood. Yeah,
Interesting.
I think it's Brentwood.
All right, well, so we'll save the rest of them, and then we'll come back to them
Okay.
for next topic. So it's time to get back into the topic that society keeps talking about. That I admit, I have to make myself care about. Because
Are you fatigued with the Little Mermaid
I don't give
conversation
a crap.
It's
about
not
The
even
Little
out
Mermaid.
yet.
I don't give
We
a-
are going to have to review it when it comes out, though.
I'm fine with reviewing it. I don't give a crap about the Little Mermaid controversy, except for
Sure.
the Trevor Noah stuff is kind of funny. The rest of it, it feels like it's not my genre. It's not made for me. I don't really care. But
It truly is not made for
It
you
is not.
demographically. No.
Exactly.
Every time I read this actress's name, Halle Bailey, I keep thinking Halle Berry.
you and everyone else, my friend.
Right. And I think that her parents intentionally wanted her
agent?
name to sound like Halle Berry, but they didn't anticipate her becoming notable in her own right. So she's kind of ended up in the worst like PR
Is that
situation.
actually her
with
name, or was it like her agent?
So,
That's her
so
real
the
name.
the point of this segment is basically everything about this movie is now about the actress, and it has nothing.
Right.
And it's no longer about Ariel.
It
or
has
about
nothing
the
to do
movie.
with the original animated film that Disney adapted from the folktale. And even that animated film had nothing to do with the folktale. So we're just so many layers away from the actual story at this point, and it's become entirely about Halle Bailey and what it means to her and how she incorporated her real self and her real personality and her real style into this fake character that is the real factor that draws people in.
Also, I want to point out that I had kind of an epiphany. As we've talked a lot about how there are no movie stars anymore, and what I realized is that when we had movie stars, the movie star's name elevated whatever movie they were in to new heights. Now we have IP that is the star that elevates these actors and their egos to the heights that they want. They are not strong enough to hold up these franchises. Remember when we saw that thing about Timothée Chalamet said, "What advice did you get from Leonardo DiCaprio?" He said,
Don't do drugs and stay out of superhero movies.
Because an actor with an actual sense of gravitas and name recognition doesn't need
dignity, right?
Doesn't need a huge IP to launch them into stardom. They launch the property into stardom. It is
Right.
backwards now.
So what I feel is happening with Halle Bailey is they're using the IP of the Disney princess franchise as a whole, but Little Mermaid in this case, to be her pedestal and her platform to launch into acting when she started in music. And it's becoming all about representation and about the marketing of it and about her as a person rather than what is actually drawing people in, which is the Disney princess story, right?
Yes.
So she
and that's
recently,
been changed too. And that's it's no longer about the actual story that they told.
And it seems like from this interview that she did at D23 that the director, Rob Marshall, is the one who initially pulled her into this by introducing her to the idea of incorporating her own personality and her own looks into the character rather than focusing on Ariel, who is the beloved character. So she said about Rob that he said, "I see you and I want to bring you into the character. It was a beautiful thing. My hair, for example, incorporating my locks into the red hair was something that was really special to me. I'm just grateful that I've been able to take the essence of me and mix the two. So it's not about her playing Ariel.
It's about Ariel
It's
becoming
about
her.
Ariel becoming Halle Bailey.
Yes.
And I don't see how that's marketable when the draw, obviously, is the existing IP.
I'm trying to think now from a guy's perspective. Like every time like a new guy comes in to play Batman, they're like, I wanted to make Batman, Bruce Wayne, more like me. Like was Ben Affleck. Like I really wanted to make Bruce Wayne a little bit more Affleck. And
It's so clearly egotistical. And I hate to point that out in an accusatory way, because the way Halle Bailey sounded in her interview was that she's totally well-meaning, that she's genuinely excited to play this role.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a huge opportunity for her, that she really appreciates what it means and what it means to like the new generation that's going to be introduced to the story. That like she's 22, so she would have only been familiar with the animated film. But there are a lot of kids now that are going to be introduced to this character through her. So it made sense that that's special to her. But I think that the marketing around it is the problem. Just like with Rings of Power, for example, it's take that, you effing incel, about everything, even when the target audience is literal children.
I think part of the Little Mermaid controversy is, and I've said it before, that they are remaking a movie that already exists. Like, when I looked up Halle Bailey a second ago to figure out if it was like actually her birth name or what, like Wikipedia tells me she's known by her monochrome Halle. Like this girl is in a position where they're trying to say like you are unique and special, so much so that you only need to be known by one name, which to be fair was only true for Beyonce after already being a Destiny's Child, and like Madonna to a certain extent, like that became a thing when her pop career grew up. Like
Prince.
This person is not established and is already in a position where industry leaders are telling her like you are the reason this movie is going to sell, which is really not true. I think that would have been interesting if coupled with a new unique story, right? Where if we didn't already,
that's what they're trying to do.
A new
it's not
story.
Like, this is an old story.
No, Yeah, no. They're going to tell a new story. They're just going to bastardize the one that already exists.
You guys mix up what I mean by when I say new story. Like it should be all new characters. It should be all new
exactly.
It should be all new. And
but
like
they won't do that.
We agree. But it sounds like they're trying to bastardize the meaning of the original folktale. Firstly,
what did Trevor
but then
Noah
the
say?
animated film too.
What did Trevor? Noah
say?
Well,
his joke was, in a seemingly self-aware way that I don't think he even agrees with. He said, I hope that this scandal, meaning the backlash and dislikes on the Ariel teaser featuring Halle Bailey, said, I hope this scandal doesn't overshadow the rest of the movie. The Little Mermaid is a beautiful story about a young woman changing her core identity to please a man. Let's not forget about that, people.
See, they can't allow that. Like you don't.
So he's making fun of the original movie in a sly, underhanded way. And in Halle Bailey's interview, she said, we all yearn for something greater. We all relate to the feeling like we want something better for ourselves. And I think the strength in her, in Ariel, is that she goes for it. She goes after what she wants and what she sees for herself. She knows that she should be somewhere else. I just admire that strength of hers, and was really trying to play that in this version. And that this take on Little Mermaid is not just about falling in love and wanting a boy and wanting the above world.
That's bad now.
Because wanting to fall in love and get married and,
that's oppressive and patriarchal and extremely limiting to your future prospects as a mid-level executive at like an average-sized company.
Even though Trevor Noah was like trying to be funny, if you think about what that joke meant, it is a condemnation of what the animated film showed to little girls. And that story was about a young woman seeking a relationship and not self-actualization in some like nebulous way. But they're reinventing the story to just be about like literally Ariel becoming a girl boss. I hate to say it, like it's like that cheap, but
why can't they just put on their big boy pants, be adults, create a new story, put the money behind the marketing campaign, and not live off the IP that's existed for however many years?
Why can't, what's the villain's name? Ursula? Like, why don't we have a movie about Ursula's like fall
Gabriella
from favor? You know,
that would be interesting.
That'd be super
right?
interesting. Like, if you need to stick with this IP, which I again fundamentally think you should get into something else, but if you have to stick with the Little Mermaid IP, like, why not talk about why Ursula, who's supposed to be Ariel's aunt, is like condemned by Triton? Like, I don't understand why we don't
sort of a Maleficent-esque.
Right.
Yeah,
she is the ultimate girl boss, right?
Yeah.
She like robs her theoretical niece of her voice because she lives by her own moral code. Like, let her live her life. I just think that this is I'm not super engaged in this debate because it's obviously stupid, in my opinion. Like, anyone who freaks out that Little Mermaid is played by a black woman, like, you've missed all the other times they've race swapped. And we should all talk about the ginger side, the anti-ginger energy and the natural attack on genetic redheads that Hollywood has. But also, like, this movie is not going to suddenly become the Little Mermaid that people put on for their kids, right? Do you remember when they made a new
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that when time
No, I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember the remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that has Johnny Depp? And then you remember the like classic,
we talked about it earlier, Willy Wonka.
People still put on the first one because the one with Johnny Depp seems too dark and scary. Look at this trailer. It's gray. It's dark. Like, if you are showing a small child The Little Mermaid, I don't think you're going to put this one on because the other one, because it's animation, seems more innocent. You don't think they'll freak out. Like, I don't think this is going to become the new standard of Little Mermaid the way that some remakes of movies do become the one you reach for.
Well, none of the live actions have done that. Not
like,
a
why would
one.
this be any
the
different?
2015 Cinderella I loved, and I thought they did that fantastically.
Brandy Norwood, Cinderella all the way.
I haven't seen that.
That's from like the 90s.
I'm going to tell you, anyone who has a kid is putting on the animated.
Besides the 2015 Cinderella, though, I can't think of a live action.
None of them.
That measures up, and it's because you can't show expression.
The Lion King is creepy.
The same way.
It's terrifying.
Because like the whole point of the animation is that it allows you to expand the expression in their eyes, their eyebrows, the facial muscles. It's creepy.
So the whole
doesn't
point
work.
that like this is going to be the Little Mermaid for the new generation, it's going to have this new message, like, that's just fundamentally not true. If it were that the original Little Mermaid was in some ways weak, it didn't quite hold up to what was being asked of it, maybe you'd have a shot. But like, the fact is, no, like, this is not going to be the movie that parents put on when their kids are like, I want to watch a movie, and they're like, well, I want you to watch a movie, but I have to do something, or I'm going to step out of the room. Like, this movie is not going to appeal to children as well as the animated Disney original. If they wanted to give this actress a chance to really, launch into stardom, or like they clearly are trying to, they should have written her an original.
They set these actors up to fail. They it feels like they hate them. It feels like they hate these actors.
When she's clearly a talented and well-meaning girl who doesn't know better and like doesn't realize the way that they're trying to reinvent the message of the film.
Yeah, and she should, if they believe in her personality and her ability so much, which there's no reason as far as I know not to, they should have given her original content to develop a character with.
I don't think I saw
so that she would always be the first person you think of when you think of this new character. But they didn't do that.
Because this just isn't compelling. This new message is not attractive to young girls. You can't force it. You can't fake it. Human psychology doesn't change.
I wonder if they're going to make a live action Moana.
I don't want them to do that.
No, because the first one is so successful, I think they would just make a million sequels rather than make a live action. Like,
I don't want them to.
It's too close in succession. A lot of these, like...
I know. But I'm saying, eventually...
Because I think it kind of sucks the fun out of it.
Yeah.
To make it live action. You animate things so that you can make exaggerated expressions and
Disney
movements.
doesn't care. Disney doesn't care about sucking the fun.
Disney things that are more visually attractive and appealing to kids, especially. Like, that's why you animate things, right?
I bet you they do Moana in like 10 years.
Oh, they made...
I mean, I guess it's inevitable.
They made Awkwafina Scuttle, so we're switching some genders around.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So great. I'm so glad.
Just like the fairy godmother in the Camila Cabello Cinderella.
Played by Billy Porter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dumb.
It's weird.
It's the age of social conditioning and weird choices.
And not to mention the
right to be
accusing everyone of being racists.
Which is just a low IQ. It's like okay, whenever they do this stuff, right? You never hear them do this with like original properties, right? There isn't a big influx of people going into a movie and being like, they shouldn't look like that. No, only when they looked like something else beforehand. Right?
Yeah, no one went into Black Panther and was like,
they
shouldn't be black. Like
that's not how things
also
work.
that happened.
Black Panther is original content. That was one of the reasons it worked. Like this is not I just don't get like this is lame and boring.
But making people angry is so much easier than making something that's genuinely compelling and sells well.
Yep, they're stupid.
So, like Trevor Noah said, once again, a bunch of internet racists are upset that a fictional character is being played by a black person. That was never the problem. No. It's that you chose a fictional character from an existing franchise and then fundamentally changed not only how she looks, but also who she is as a person.
Yep.
And what her motivations and story are.
They are giving you the textbook straw man argument to this problem because they don't want to actually engage with people having this discussion. So yeah, it's stupid.
That's just Trevor Noah looking for clapter. That's his MO.
Trevor Noah sucks.
Anyway, let's go to super chats, I guess. Johnny Derp said, any new hair colors should apply to all hosts, not just Brett.
Let's go.
I get the feeling the lassies wouldn't be quite so keen were it them being altered.
You've had other hair colors, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of over that.
Yeah, but you don't want somebody else telling you what to color it.
Would you do it if it was like a super chat thing?
I don't know. I don't think they wanted me to do that, though. I brought it up on the show, and they were like, no, don't dye your hair anything.
I mean, I think part of the thing is, like, that's why they want you to do the carts, right? Because they want us to do things that we obviously wouldn't like. Like, I don't think Brett would have elected to do it. I don't want to watch The Fast and the Furious. So if it's something you kind of want to do, I feel like it doesn't have quite the same power. Which is why it's so easy to suggest things for Brett, because, like we said, he's the group curmudgeon.
If you saw his face right now, Spotify listeners, he is looking the most curmudgeonly he's ever looked.
He's quite curmudgeon indeed.
Waffle Sensei said, Tuesday's so extra. The matriarchy is taking over. Resist, brother Brett. Resist.
That's exactly what's going on here. I feel
Tuesdays are very matriarchal. This is Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's in a gynocentric podcast society. I am but a lone survivor working to represent for the men everywhere. Listen,
you asked me to come on your show. I don't know what you want.
Actually, from me. Mondays are kind of matriarchal too, because as Dane says, he is every woman.
Yes, that is true.
Fiend V said, maybe they're both method acting, not showering for months as one would in such a time. Coordinator is just preparing them for the stench.
Oh, man. That's funny. I didn't need to hear that.
Well, look, we're trying to make it more realistic, right?
Perfect.
Johnny Derp said, spelling and grammar are like hygiene. Ignore the norms, but don't be shocked when people draw conclusions. The literary equivalent of being unwashed.
Okay.
Wow.
I do literally suck with the term literally. I say literally all the time, even though I literally don't always literally mean it. So.
And colloquially.
I hate
colloquially.
I hate saying that word.
Why? Nathan, it's hard to say colloquially.
Colloquially.
But it's a nice word. It has a function.
Colloquially.
Nathan Settlemeyer said, Brett, disagree about the Dragon Ball movie. Roshi, Yamcha, Chi-Chi, and Gohan were all Asian. Goku isn't Asian. He's an alien. Not really whitewashed.
That wasn't my argument. That was an argument of somebody I saw that they made on Instagram.
Did you agree with this argument, or you just recited it?
I didn't even respond to them because I got halfway through responding like, this is stupid. And then I'm like, I'm not going to argue with this.
But you guys can get a rise out of Brett on Instagram. That's what he just admitted.
But you're not wrong. I just when I saw it, I was like. Also, I admit that I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, so for all I know, they could have whitewashed it. It definitely came out at a time where that would have been completely applicable. A better example would be having Tilda Swinton play the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, in the first Doctor Strange movie, which they changed from being Tibetan in the comics because China was like, no siree, not on our watch. But very few people complained because Disney owns all the controlled opposition and just didn't have those articles written.
Caper2X said, Hannah Claire can be the librarian and school paper advisor.
What is a school paper advisor?
Like a school newspaper? Like a staff member?
You could
or like a tutor? Like for writing papers?
No, I think they mean like school newspaper.
Okay. All right.
James Riley said Hannah Claire equals goddess, Mary equals angel, Lydia equals high queen, Taylor equals warrior princess, Dane equals sorcerer supreme, Brett equals
Sorceress.
protector of PCC lowly human. Whoa.
I'm out of here.
Okay, protector
Brett's
of
taking his
PCC is a
blonde
good
hair and
thing,
he's getting
right?
out of here.
I quit.
I do feel like you're the protector of pop culture crisis in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah, and lowly human. That's all right. It's fine.
Brett doesn't need this abuse. He's blonde now.
Exactly.
He won't put up with this.
I will not put up with this.
He's
with
a
this
prima
abuse.
donna now.
Ugh.
Johnny Derp said, can't wait to see Ariel twerking with She-Hulk.
Wouldn't put it past them at this point. Marvel
Well,
sucks. Marvel-
Theoretically, now that they've joined with Marvel, it's possible. Anything's possible. Tyler Hogue said, currently packing up to move. Thank you for giving me something to listen to so I don't lose my sanity.
Actually,
Have a
that's
good
no
move,
problem.
man.
when I moved out here, that was I went back and listened to a bunch of mine is like I listen to old podcasts. Like I listen to
Vintage.
there's several like X-Files podcasts that I love that review the X-Files that I put on when I want something to keep me from losing my mind. And the sad thing was, okay, I was re-listening to one of them, and I was re-listening, because they go through the episodes in order, and I'm like re-listening to the first 5, and I'm like, oh man, I remember why I love this podcast so much. And then the day I touched down here, they released a new episode that says like why we're stopping the show, and I'm like, this sucks.
Aw.
Thanks, guys. I was all excited to like get back into listening to you guys again, and then just boom, gone, poof, nothing left. Made me very sad.
I promise you, PCC viewers, this will never happen.
It will not.
We will never betray you.
We'll just if Mary ever decided to leave, I'll just tape her.
Wow.
To the chair.
So the only reason pop culture would end is if I leave.
I was just giving a hypothetical.
Brett doesn't want to speak for you. He said, if in case you had other plans, he'll tape you to a chair.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
That's a plan.
Letting you girl boss around as long as he can kidnap you.
That's
I
a plan.
guess.
It's a terrifying plan, but it's a plan.
It's a plan nonetheless, guys.
Brett says he's going nowhere. In fact, he would live in the studio if he could.
Exactly. All right, guys, we're moving on to Podluck, and we are gonna. Okay, so remember just not that long ago when we were talking about the gratuitous nudity that Hollywood loves to put on screen, and how they're like, "Hi, we're gonna show like a bunch of incest and like a bunch of sex and a bunch of this and that." Well, that's all fine, but what you can't do is you can't show smoking on screen. That's a problem.
What has happened to society? What happened to us? I want to say smoking is extremely aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
And it should be in films for that reason.
So it
And
says,
it's like a start to finish thing. Like you light it and it's sort of like showing a character drinking.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's
We can't show anything that's possibly unhealthy?
It's also an important, at this point, marker of time, right?
Right.
Our culture has shifted so dramatically against smoking, especially through the 90s. Like
it's a good example
that-
of Hollywood actually playing a role in changing culture.
Right. And if you don't want to, if you want to authentically portray a time period, you need to include smoking. Like that's just the reality of it. It's similar to costuming or anything else.
They're doing the
Right.
same, like when you watch the show Lucifer. Now, I'm not sure if this held true once they went to Netflix, but when Lucifer was on network TV, they would never show the character smoking. They would always show him just as he was putting a cigarette out, or he would be playing the piano and the cigarette would be lit on the piano, but they would never actually show him taking a drag off the cigarette.
Sure,
So
okay.
that is a clever way of incorporating it without actually encouraging people to do so.
It's just an interesting choice because like
Oh, we haven't
people
read
who
the
think
headline.
smoking looks cool and will start smoking because of that are going to do that anyway. You're not going to stop them.
We didn't read the headline, which is HBO Max bizarrely photoshops cigarettes out of iconic Hollywood movie posters. It is bizarre.
And
because
again, doing these things thinking that no one will notice.
I love, like, what is this pose supposed to be now that
They're
the
Got
cigarette
his
is-
fingers crossed.
Yeah, they've awkwardly got 2 fingers in the air or they're like going like this.
It's like he's got his finger guns ready. Like I don't know if I can do it on YouTube, but like he's holding his pretend finger pistol up as opposed to pointing it at someone. Like it doesn't make any sense.
And now this one looks like he's just like actually making like a weed smoking reference rather than actually smoking.
They
Right.
make it weirder in some way.
It's just they think they're doing this surreptitiously
Yeah.
when it's really just doing a Streisand effect on
Yeah.
the fact that they're censoring it,
Yep.
right?
This is the only one that seemed kind of okay, where like they just covered it up with the art on the side, on the corner.
It looks like he's doing like an aw shucks kind of hand gesture.
Yep. So,
But
so
was it
bad.
even necessary?
no.
This movie is called There Was a Crooked Man. Seems like you're implying he's morally corrupt, so he'd be smoking. So you're saying smoking is bad. Like,
Yeah,
what are you talking
let's
about?
go.
Are they gonna censor Cruella DeVille's long
Yes.
cigarette?
She's carrying like a weird feather from now on.
No, it'll be a vape now.
I want to know in like 21, 22, are they going to like show characters gratuitously using jewels and
Yes.
and big vapes?
What is the weird like push against smoking? I understand like back when it started and it was like we didn't know it causes cancer, it's unhealthy, but like was it last year one of the I don't remember what the umbrella company is, but I know that they own Camel or Marlboro cigarettes. The guy who's based in the UK was like, we're going to make it so tobacco is completely out of this country by, I don't know, 2024, like whatever the year was. Why? Like,
Maybe they're hiding the secret that it's good for you.
he's the executive of a tobacco company. Like,
Really?
seems like a weird move to be like, we're going to get rid of
Wow.
this product and then we'll close down. Like, all of his workers are like, excuse me? This
There's
makes no sense.
a funny meme that says like tobacco companies literally sell their customers products that kill them, and there's another one that says like condom companies sell their customers products that prevent future customers.
True.
Yeah.
It's just like
True.
none of this makes any sense. I don't get it. Also, like, I think it's good for people to be aware of the effects that tobacco has on the body, right?
But
like,
it's art,
it is dangerous.
right?
But
They're
like,
just getting to the truth of the character. What if the truth of the character is that he wants to smoke a cigarette?
right. Also, like, was there something a study where it was like people go back and watch old movies and that makes them want to smoke, so we should get rid of it? Like, I feel like the damage these movies have done, if they even do encourage smoking, which I don't believe, like their time has passed. You know, like. Let it be. Why going back and editing it out now does nothing.
Yeah.
I think they should also do this for. Are there any movies where they show like in my high school? Not every girl. Lots of girls carried around water bottles with vodka in them. Do we then edit out movies that?
If every girl did that, that would be
Awesome.
insane.
You're like, what high school
Would it
did
be
you go to?
awesome?
It would be hilarious. It's like is no bad behavior like it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier with Joker and like harmful stereotypes. Are we just not allowed to show things that we know are bad even though it's part of the story?
We're making adult entertainment into children's entertainment.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
We are literally expected to watch Coco Melon because cigarettes are bad for you.
Yeah, basically.
Didn't the UK today just have this? I'm going to Google it while we're talking. They said that they're going to start censoring some information or some scenes that could be or content online that could be deemed harmful to adults. Like, if you're an adult, you should be able to make decisions about what's harmful for you.
Yeah.
Because mega corporations and the government are our entire culture's parents now.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Like,
you don't raise your kids. Disney raises your kids. Your tablet raises your kids.
and then the
Now you're an adult.
Extended adolescent Disney adults are still being parented by those corporations.
I just feel like this is also like it's HBO Max, right? That's doing this.
Yeah.
So like it's okay for them to have graphic sex scenes in their content,
That's
but they
what
took
I'm
out smoking.
That's
so
what I'm
they are
saying.
looking out for
That's
you.
what I'm saying.
Like,
Does nobody see the weird thing here?
they
Like,
literally show Zendaya like shooting up intravenous heroin,
But she's
in
not smoking a
Euphoria on
cigarette.
HBO Max.
well, at least she's not smoking a cigarette. while she's
I don't
doing that.
understand.
What's the difference? Please,
don't
I
get it.
want to know. Like, I just want to know. And I think it's so.
It would be interesting to sit into a meeting
Also,
and
was
have
this,
them
like-
explain this to you.
I want to know
Yeah.
if this was some graphic design intern at HBO's like whole summer internship,
Probably.
was going through and editing out cigarettes in like old movie posters.
Probably.
Did they think no one was going to notice or point it out?
I
They didn't
mean-
even replace it with something that looks less awkward.
Did they think that people were going to be like, thank goodness you did that. I'm so grateful.
Yep.
You have prevented me from smoking if I watched a movie that
So
came
dumb.
out 50 years ago. Doesn't make any sense.
So it's
Also, they paid someone to do this. Like,
Yep.
this was company resources at work.
Yep. Money
I
Thank
feel
you,
like
HBO Max.
Some HBO Max executive needs to be in the boardroom like, seriously, guys, this is what we wasted time on?
Yes. I still love HBO Max, so that's just but I don't watch any of these movies, so that's just me.
You'll give up smoking now that they took it out of old movies.
All right, guys. Also, I want to point out that Black Panther may not be getting by the way, I mean the sequel, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, may not actually get a release in France. I don't know if we have any listeners from France, but that would be cool if we did.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. So it says it was basically the idea here is like in France, after a movie comes out, it has to have a 17-month window between the release between its time in theaters and its release on streaming, and Disney is obviously not willing to make that adjustment because they have like a pretty hard and fast 3 month, like as soon as it's out of the theaters, 3 months, and then they dump it on streaming, and they don't want to do that for
17 months is a long time.
Over almost 2 years. I mean, yeah. Like,
So they say no film from the fourth phase of the MCU has made it to Disney Plus in France yet. Obviously, French people who want to see these MCU movies are just sailing the high seas, so you're not exactly fixing the problem.
Well, hey, man, just do what Russia did, legalize piracy.
Right, easy.
Russia's like, well, you're not going to give us your movies? Well, we're going to take them.
Legalizing all crime.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues in Russia, but I want to say, like, that is the biggest FU to Hollywood I've ever seen.
It's awesome. So it says the original Black Panther grossed $33 million in French cinemas, roughly half of what it grossed across the English Channel. So it is interesting how, like, as we try to create more globalized entertainment, we have a harder time understanding that rules, laws, and culture is different everywhere you go, and you can't get things to match up.
Can I segue a little bit?
Yes.
Just because it walked into my head. Is there like an American-made film festival, like a film festival for movies that are like written, like they're set in America, they're written in America, they're filmed in America, they have American actors. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think so.
Do we have an American?
Like only American actors?
Yeah. I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
If that exists.
No, because there's not the same like national pride.
Yeah.
Especially
here,
the art world,
in
Hollywood, there's no national pride.
They have a large amount
I'm
of
trademarking
disdain.
this idea.
Maybe they have a regional pride of being from Hollywood, like hailing from Hollywood, but not America.
If this exists, can someone let me know? But also, if this doesn't exist and you want to start it, I demand to be looped in on this because I think that's what we should have. It'd be hilarious and probably good, right?
It would end up unintentionally being subversive.
I think all of the states that are trying to break, like Atlanta and North Carolina, and there's a couple different states that like are trying to cultivate it so people can film there. I mean, it's all based on Hollywood, but like I would be curious to see how they cultivate, let's say, their university's film department by being like, we'll make an endowment for you to produce a movie with American students that's made in America, that's made in our state. Like, we should have that. I don't understand.
Never gonna happen.
That's nothing to do with Black Panther in France, but I just think that we should have it.
It will never happen. Hollywood hates America.
Yeah, but like if you have the funding outside of Hollywood, you don't need Hollywood. Right?
I mean, even if they didn't hate America, they're indifferent to national identity. They want to globalize entertainment. That's
I think we should
the end
push
goal.
against globalizing entertainment, but generally I'm against globalization. So
absolutely. So it's
and it's not just because like we have some kind of I don't know, like. It's also just that it's practically impossible to globalize entertainment that we're railing against it. Not just ideological reasons, but just like stupid. Practically you cannot do it.
It is interesting to watch them constantly try and constantly run into roadblocks.
Right.
It kind of speaks to the strength behind their convictions to really do that, even if we disagree with it, that they're going to, I don't know if it's specifically for financial reasons, that they see it as a more thriving market that allows them to make more money, but they're definitely not focused here. And that's always interesting to me because of all the problems that consistently and continuously come every time they try to market outside of one region. China,
it's greed and it's ideology.
Yes. China is making movies just for China. They don't need to make movies. They're accepting less and less of our movies every year, and they're just making their own entertainment, and they're keeping it completely in house because they don't want
India too.
Well, they've
studied
always
our model, and they can make it better for themselves.
Yeah, they're fine. So it is interesting to watch us push outward when it's clearly not working.
And there's no point.
It's try hard and cringy.
Yep. And do you want to finish with Paris?
Of course.
Oh, speaking of France. No, I thought that was clever.
Yeah, very funny.
Thank
very
you.
funny. Paris Hilton's little baby chihuahua diamond baby is lost.
That is a problem,
and
guys.
She has enlisted the help of a dog whisperer, a dog psychic, and drones to go on the hunt for diamond baby.
The question is, will she hire Ace Ventura Pet Detective?
Oh, I need this movie in my life.
That's maybe. I mean, I saw an article fairly recently about them saying that they want to bring back Ace Ventura. Maybe
but with Paris Hilton,
ripped from the headlines, Ace Ventura,
yes.
and they do this, and they tell this story.
So she posted about it on Instagram. She announced Diamond Baby has been missing since last Wednesday. I was at a photo shoot and we're moving houses, and one of the movers must have left a door open. My family and friends have been helping me search high and low throughout my entire neighborhood and have gone door to door, but we still haven't found her. We've hired a pet detective, a dog whisperer, a pet psychic, and we're looking into dog finding drones now. I'm doing everything in my power to get her back.
What is a pet detective in the real
You
world?
would think that Paris had chipped her dog, right?
I guess that's when the dog is found and like they scan it. I don't think it's like an actual GPS tracker, right?
I don't know. She could put it in like a collar, right?
Yeah, I don't understand. That seems like an obvious thing.
So
I just on the Rolling Stone article, her quote, "I feel like a part of me is missing and nothing is the same without her here.
Thank
Diamond
you.
Baby is my everything, truly like a daughter to me. We were inseparable. She's my best friend and always by my side." I totally get loving your pet. Loving your pet is good. Maybe you should have a baby.
Obsessive
like a daughter is strong.
Slightly
language.
too far for
obsessive
Yeah.
dog parents. I find it. I find two things cringy. I find little yappy dogs cringy. I hate little. I prefer dogs.
Diamond Baby looks
Also-
like a sweet little thing.
me. Yeah, it is like I feel bad for her. Like your pet that you cherish going missing, sad. Also, let's point out the obvious. She lives in California. That dog is the size of a rabbit. Has she not been eaten by a bird? That's my actual.
Oh no.
My mind didn't.
I'm being totally
my
serious,
mind
like-
didn't go there.
Why not? That's obvious.
Poor Diamond Baby.
This Diamond Baby gets out and like what vultures or like something comes down and swoops it up. Like
Bald
I'm not
eagle.
trying to be mean. That's what you fear about with like if your cat gets out and you live in the Northeast. Like a larger cat or some kind of wolf came and ate it. Like that's
Yeah.
sad, but that's the reality.
I do
Again,
find it
they're
cringy
still sad.
when they treat their dogs like human babies. It's weird to me.
It's not the same thing.
She's currently offering a reward for finding Diamond Baby with no questions asked. Interesting. And she told anyone who has tips or has seen Diamond Baby to reach out to finddiamondbaby@gmail.com.
Because there was
So
the
if any
whole-
of you have seen Diamond Baby,
yeah,
please
especially
reach
if
out.
you're the bird that ate Diamond Baby.
Or if you know the bird. If you saw a bird, snatch up
Also,
Diamond Baby.
I will say there was like a whole thing. I mean, I think it still happens. Wasn't this like what happened to Lady Gaga's dog walker? Like people will steal dogs and then be like, wait for the missing poster to come up, and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, I found your dog.
Yeah,
specifically celebrity dogs.
I think
Yeah.
it's just like in affluent neighborhoods it happens.
Yeah, they steal it and then miraculously find it and accept the reward.
Or like take a dog like Diamond Baby for ransom.
It's like the
and
bling
send
ring
a
essentially
version
creepy
of dog.
ransom
Well, it's
letter.
like they work in teams. So if like you stole the dog, Brett several days later when the reward was posted would be like, oh my gosh, I found her.
Why am I the criminal in this situation?
No, I said you're the one returning it.
Well, yeah, but
saying
like
Mary-
we would be partners in this crime of kidnapping
yeah.
Diamond
So
Baby.
I am a partner in
Not
crime. I
saying
don't want
we
to be a
did.
partner in crime.
Also,
for the record.
again, I'm
Has
not
anybody
trying to
seen
make
what
light
Michael
of the
Vick is
idea
doing?
that like your dog would get eaten by a wild animal, but like I do think that's probably what has happened.
What's the dog's name again?
Diamond Baby.
Poor Diamond Baby.
That's sad.
It is sad. It looks like a sweet little dog.
Uh,
But you're right about like have a kid. Like that's not your daughter. That's not like a daughter to you. It's just an animal.
I admit to
I
being.
totally get how attached you can be to pets. I had a cat that I was like thought the world of, but like I never would have been like, and this is my child.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because in Paris's autobiographical documentary, she was talking to her sister Nikki Hilton, who has children, and Nikki asked her like, "Do you ever want to have a family of your own?" And she was just very. She just didn't seem friendly to the idea. And at the time, she wasn't married yet.
Yeah.
Paris got married since that documentary came out.
I think it's
Maybe
hard.
she will.
I think some
don't
women, I like hesitate to comment on it too much for, especially like women who are past their 30s and are famous. Like, I think there are women who want to have children but don't have partners. And I think most people want to have a child with a husband or a wife that they can raise in a stable home. So in some ways, like being asked that question is hard because.
But now she is
So it's
married,
time.
seemingly happily.
I thought she was even talking about doing IVF publicly, but I wasn't sure. Yes, sad that she lost her dog. Dog is probably eaten by a bird, but also not your dog.
Thank you. We're
don't
getting
know.
close to a second crisis party.
There was some. Who's the girl on Modern Family who just got married? She married like someone who's like was on Bachelor in Paradise or something.
Not sure.
Sarah Hyland. She did a podcast where she's like, I literally feel like I birthed my dog, and I want to be like,
What?
That is really cringy.
That
thing
is
is, like,
weird.
If
I
you
get that
lost
love
your
pets.
literal daughter, you would not be casually like posting on Instagram about it.
I think that
I'm
there's
sorry, I
some
can't stand
pet
it. I
person
can't-
now who would be like, if the police would take it seriously, then I would go to them, but I can't. You know what I mean?
I can't stand people that treat their pets like humans. It's not a human. It's a pet.
Pets are great, and you can
Yes,
care
they
about them a
are.
lot. Please stop calling them your children.
Exactly. It's very cringy. So super chats.
Tyler Hogue said, currently packing up to move. Oh, wait, no, I already read yours. James Riley said, fine. You're a powerful knight. Happy?
Yes, I am. I would much rather be a powerful knight. Thank you.
Shards of Narsil said, no Mary equals doom of PCC.
Oh, is that true? I don't know. Would that be true? Probably. Maybe.
I mean, I hope so. I hope I've contributed enough that it would be the doom of PCC.
It's
if I dropped off the face of the earth for some reason.
See, it would be the doom of PCC if I wasn't here, but it's just because I would change everything before I went, so that they would have to start from scratch.
You could just bring in Mr. Fluffykins up here.
Yes, I could.
And just have your schizophrenic teddy bear podcast.
What I'm doing is I'm gonna I would destroy all the set. I'd throw everything away. That way nobody could. You'd have to start the podcast from scratch again, just because I wanted to be petty.
Just don't address it. Don't address it at all.
If I was going, no, I'm saying I said I want to make it so that it can't exist without me, but I'd only do that by destroying the podcast. On its face.
I like the idea that one day Tim and Ian come up here and don't say anything. They just do pop culture, and then that night you guys do IRL. I'd say nothing about it.
No,
just act
I would
like this is
never
the way
do
it's
that.
always been. It would never happen. That would be way funnier to me.
Yeah.
I did think it would be.
Hey, that could be fun.
It would be so fun, but we can't say anything about it. We can't be like, oh, we're filling in or whatever. We just act like it's totally normal.
Yeah.
Anyone who listens to this episode will get the joke.
Would I be the Ian to your Tim?
I have a beanie, so yes, and you have long hair, so that makes you automatically Ian.
Right.
And me automatically
I need
Tim.
to do a little more research about crystals and
graphene.
Alternative medicine and stuff.
And
I don't know.
And I would have to. I wasn't at Occupy Wall Street, so I'd have to do some more research on.
No, but you would act like all your skating career is your
Yes.
version of Occupy Wall Street.
Okay.
And you wouldn't talk about crystals. You'd talk about goth culture or Catholicism or something,
Sure.
as if you were Ian.
Sure,
just
yeah.
bring it up all the time. I love it.
What are your opinions on the Federal Reserve?
It's bad.
She was born to play.
Guys,
and
I
the
think
military-industrial complex is
Bad.
really bad.
But Tim has to come up here and reference every movie ever, and Ian has to be able to name all of the teddy bears behind you, whatever you guys do, but you're ultimately yourselves. I like this. This is a joke.
Let's make it happen. Crispy Like Transport LLC said, do you guys talk about anime and manga sometimes?
We do not. I honestly believe. I believe
that's
that
its own market.
anime
really.
and manga is like gaming in that it needs to be its own thing with its own knowledgeable experts.
I feel it's even more niche than gaming.
Yeah.
No, it is. But I'm saying the people that love it, and
Yeah.
I don't have a deep enough passion for it that I'd be able to talk about it knowledgeably enough. So.
Yeah. I need to stop watching YouTube, said Ace Ventura Pet Detective. That was a classic.
Oh.
Yeah, it was good. Maybe it's not
Also-
as good as I remember it. I don't know.
It's classic.
I don't think I've ever seen
In
it.
the sequel, when he puts the slinky and it goes down all the stairs, slinky, everybody loves a slinky. No, you have to go watch both of them. The first one, whenever I make that comment, I go, yes, activist, yes. That's from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. But there's also the scene where he's opening the sliding glass door to prove that a crime had to be committed a certain way. It goes, oh. You have to go watch it. Everybody go watch it right now.
Call Me Snow Possum said, just came from Spotify to say hi to my future self when I listen tomorrow.
That might be my favorite.
Love you guys.
That's
Stay you.
hilarious.
That might be my favorite super chat ever. And by the way,
funny.
You are Snow Possum. He said, "Call me Snow Possum."
Oh, you are Snow Possum.
You are Snow Possum.
There you go.
So, there you go.
You got what you wanted.
Hannah Claire, super chat us so that we get a second crisis party. Now, quick,
Me?
go.
No.
Yes, you. Now,
Why
go.
is she responsible for this?
Because I said so.
Okay.
Because she said that. No, wait. You said.
What?
Do it now. Go.
No.
Okay. One shot. I tried to get Dane to do it one day. He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do
He
it.
wouldn't do it.
He's a dedicated
I think the thing is,
member of chat, though.
it's people outside this room who have to do it. You know what I mean?
When they had Chaircast, I donated and told people to go check out Pop Culture Crisis.
Nice,
In the
I
super
love it.
chat. Yeah.
I think that's totally reasonable.
Yep.
Brett, I want to know how you think Jim
Thank you.
Carrey stacks up with Mike Myers as actors.
Oh, Jim Carrey all the way.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Granted, I don't have as much. All I really watch of Mike Myers is Wayne's World. So.
Well, I don't know. I think
And
he's
I've seen Austin. And I've
I
seen
think
Austin
he's more
Powers.
versatile than Jim Carrey, right?
I would need somebody could have to give me an example of like a serious Michael Myers movie. Michael.
Serious? I don't know. I don't know about serious, but I mean, like,
I like Jim Carrey a lot.
he was Austin Powers, obviously.
I liked Jim Carrey in The Cable Guy. I liked Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura. I like Jim Carrey in The Number 23. Yes, I actually like that movie. The Truman Show. Like he's an actually versatile actor. I like that in later years he's kind of returned to playing his slapstick roles. And like when he's in Sonic, he's not being Robotnik. He's being Jim Carrey, who just happens to be a character named Robotnik.
I think he's better at like.
He's also a weirdo.
He is a weirdo, and I think he's like.
The Mask is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Mask is great. Have you seen The Mask?
Yes. I think so.
Oh my god, you've actually seen it. It was Cameron Diaz's big breakout role.
Yeah.
Hold the phone. Killer. 3 o'clock.
What was his Andy?
Thank you.
What was his Andy Kaufman?
Man on the Moon.
Okay.
Man on the Moon. Well, yeah, him and Jerry Lawler hated each other because Jim Carrey's like Jerry Lawler had to point out that Andy Kaufman wasn't like that in real life, and Jim Carrey's just being a dick the whole time. It's
is that true?
Yeah, like yeah. So
that's funny.
It's kind of it's his own version of like Jared Leto and method acting, and Jim Carrey's like he wasn't like that, or I'm sorry, and Jerry Lawler's like he wasn't like that, and it was like really pissing him off.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Dragon's Talon 1001 said, "If you can drop kick it, it's not a dog."
Thank you.
That's mean.
No, you can. It's a dog.
How dare you say this about Diamond Baby? Jameis.
Also, how much do you want to name a dog, Diamond Baby? I feel like I could see you doing that.
I mean, you gotta pick something like
an
stupid.
ode to the Y2K.
Something dumb like that.
Thank you guys so much.
That's how Jeffree Star has named all of his dogs.
Really?
Like things that start with a D, like Diamond.
There's probably a Dolce for Dolce.
Dolce, yeah. Like one of them was Daddy.
Oh,
what else did he
that
do?
much.
I've missed the lights. I love the lights.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
James Ornthal said, "My outdoor cat likely got eaten by coyotes in South LA County back in 2015. Paris's dog is dead, y'all. R.I.P. P.S. Watch Big Trouble in Little China."
Jamie, when Jamie was on the show last, he mentioned I need to watch Big Trouble in Little China. It's on my queue. It's on Hulu, I believe. It's on one of my many streaming services that Hannah Claire tells me only guys have, and I'm going to watch it.
Do only guys have Hulu?
No, my working theory for my think tank research group is that predominantly men are the most likely to subscribe to multiple streaming platforms. Women are only likely to have one, if any.
I don't know if I believe that. I think you are the exception and not the rule. I think that there
Mary,
is
do you
no
have a streaming
gender
service?
I think there is no gender disparity here.
I have someone else's login.
Yep.
I don't have
That's
one
what women
myself.
do. Men pay for it
So
themselves.
they're moochers, is what you're saying.
Men are
Women are
providers.
moochers.
That's what women are best at. What are you talking about?
Look, women are economical and men are providers.
Oh, economical.
I'm just telling you, it's
everyone's a feminist until you have to get the Netflix login.
Yeah.
Then it's time to depend on a man. Am I right?
Soften the language, why don't you?
I'm just telling you, it's a sign of differences in gender in our culture.
I kind of love that.
Well, then my goal now is to next relationship I'm in, I'm going to be like, sorry, but we have to use your streaming services. And
You're
yours
gonna go
only.
Dutch?
You're gonna go Dutch on a streaming service?
No, hers only.
Wow, you're gonna go soy boy on a streaming service?
Yeah. Or you can like alternate who pays for which streaming service.
In the name of equality, we have to use yours.
I will pay for I'll pay for whichever ones are cheaper.
And she's gonna be like, you only have the ad tier Netflix though.
I'll be like, well, you know what? If you don't want the ad tier one, you better split the rest of the price. It's $8.99 plus $5.99.
I don't think you understand. You want women to have dependency on you. You want them to use your password, and then they'll never.
Then
break
you're
up with
tied
you.
forever, and she can't leave you.
You're showing her you can provide for her.
Yeah, go ahead. Break up with me.
I don't think we do sound crazy. We are talking about dating in
you
the
need to
modern
just
era.
trap her in your life.
Go ahead,
and not
break up
let
with
her
me.
leave.
No, it's like
hit the log out.
No,
like you have your finger on the log
You guys
out
Go
button.
ahead. Do you want Netflix anymore?
No, you're creating a very non-committal way to show like, hey, I can provide for you, and we can start collaboratively building a life together without needing
And
to
collaborating on a watch list.
One Netflix
I think
queue
it's
at a
good.
time.
It's a better way than being like, move all your stuff into my house. We'll figure out if we like living together. Like, let's cooperatively share a streaming service and figure out our communication styles.
No, okay. So the other day, like Luke, it was like apparently they were like watching my Netflix on like the TV like downstairs, and I felt so violated.
Oh my goodness!
I was like,
you saw their recently watched, and
They
your
saw
recently
yours.
watched.
They saw. I was like, how dare you look at my
goodness.
recently watched? And then like I heard some judgment about something that was in my recently watched.
What
and I
was
like,
it?
I think it was NCIS.
That's
Maybe
funny.
in iZombie. I'm like, you know what? Just for that, log out. No more for you. You better log into your own damn account if you want to watch Netflix and criticize my watch list. Bite
How
me.
dare you?
It was like Great British Castles or something like that. I'm like, so what? So what if I
British
want
documentaries are really good.
Yeah.
I like them. Bobcat said, in California, it's
Oh,
more
but
likely.
Before I was going to say hello, James Orenthal. When we haven't seen James in a while, I meant to say hello and thank you for the super chat.
Bobcat said, in California, it's more likely the dog wandered into one of the Bidenvilles nearby and became someone's dinner.
Check Martha's Vineyard.
Yikes.
Maybe it traveled to Martha's Vineyard. Check Martha's Vineyard.
Get that dog the hell out. Waffle Sensei said, Hannah Claire, that is so barbaric. No one was thinking she got eaten by a bird.
Nobody.
Damn, girl.
I was
dark.
not thinking that. Nobody was
I
thinking
wasn't
that.
either. That was
Guys,
where you
you're
immediately
sheltered.
went?
Yeah, of course. I grew up in a rural area. If you have house pets who get outside, that's the reality of everything
why
else.
a
Also,
bird?
someone super chatted just before this that's what happened to one of their pets.
It's suburban of me that I think it probably got run over by a car.
Sure, that's
more likely.
true.
That
But
Seems
like,
more- a very nice car, given where she probably lives.
They probably felt like it was like an acorn. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, what was that?
It's definitely a big SUV.
it's the moving truck for those like taking stuff out of her house.
Tyler Hogue said, if Mary left... Oh, I think you mean PCC.
PPC.
PCC, not POC.
If you left people of color,
If I left people of color.
It's
If Mary left PCC,
would lose
would
all
lose
the,
all the Sims. Okay, I get it now.
So okay, so that's probably
Brett has more Sims than I do.
yeah. I have blonde hair now.
Ever since
Didn't
he
you get the
bleached
memo?
his hair, like I think you've got it wrong.
Give me a
Brett's the one
break.
bringing in the Sims.
To be fair, I mean, we had a test run where Mary was on. I actually did. I was like, when you went on vacation, I'm like, will the viewership drop to nothing? Like, I do like to point out on a regular basis, like, look, face for radio. That's fine. Hannah Claire sat in. We had a fun time, but
But even on the
it's our show.
sausage fest that Dane said, like
we called that episode.
like
yeah.
when Dane was sitting in for me,
Yep.
and we had Ian on. You had a record number of crisis parties.
I did get a
so-
message from somebody asking why Dane sat here and not there. I said because I wasn't going to make Dane sit behind a creepy teddy bear trying to smell his hair.
Was
I
that
have to
his
sit behind the
special
ta-
request or was that you?
No, that was my. I
Okay.
he's like, I'll do it. I'm like, no, it's fine. We'll move you over.
But it's
here.
fine if Hannah Claire gets sniffed by a teddy bear. Is that what you're saying?
That's rude.
It was less about the teddy bear, more about the aesthetic of those bears back there.
He
but
only
the
cares
joke-
about how Brett feels, the other man. That's
Wow.
interesting.
You mean how Dane feels?
the
Yeah.
institutional
That's true.
misogyny of this show is
He
showing.
can only
right
empathize
now.
with another man.
Well, I
He
heard
can't
that-
understand- put himself-
How dare
The
you?
first C stands for patriarchal culture crisis.
Along with
Oh.
patriarchy.
Lane said, literally my first thought was a hawk got it. Sorry.
Well, apparently
So I'm not the only one.
you are not the only one.
Caw, caw. Nathan Settlemeyer said, Mary being on Timcast at the beginning of July is why I'm here now. Never heard of PCC before that. Mary Timcasts are awesome.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
They're all busy. Well, Luke's back, and they've got a lot
They
of people
often
going.
book 2 guests at once as well.
Yep, and
But I'd love to be on again. That was fun.
Tell Lydia next time she's here.
and also, next time you're on Hannah Claire, I'm going to need you to shill just a little bit harder for the show. Be like,
Yeah.
like I'm not on tonight, but please check out.
Yeah, I don't always show when I'm not on. Like,
Say, like, you can find me on Pop Culture Crisis
Like, I mean,
on
you-
Tuesdays.
Yes,
I'll go over my like fee for influencing for
When-
something that's within
It's
our
on
own
the
company.
docket.
when you do
Okay.
your outro there, because your outro is not as regimented as the one you do here, I'm going to need you to add, and if you would like to see more of me, you can find me every Tuesday on Pop Culture Crisis right here on
No.
YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Who are we kidding? We're doing Timcast IRL the favors by mentioning them on the show right now.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Nathan's,
They're our offshoot show.
Nathan is clearly the exception, not the rule here.
Yeah.
Who clearly he found us through Timcast IRL. When
Usually
everybody
it's the
else,
other way
they
around.
find IRL through us because we're such a big podcast.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable. That checks out.
Exactly.
Johnny Derp said the dog isn't lost. It got tired of being held next to that uncanny valley face. She looks almost as human as the master in Fallout 1.
I mean,
Well, she was wearing an Instagram filter in that
Also, like,
picture, but usually, like, she's one of the least plastic surgery celebrities out there right now.
she has, and if she does it, it's high quality. I
Yeah.
mean, she, like, the thing about plastic surgery is that you have to do it in respects to what you actually look like. Like, so many people try to get plastic surgery to alter their face so it looks unnatural.
See, there's the dog looks
Yeah.
happy. Here it looks like the dog's like, I'm gonna run away.
Aw.
Dog's like, I'm out of here.
Diamond Baby had enough.
Diamond Baby's like, I gotta go.
I'm just imagining it running for the hills, like, I gotta get free.
That's hot.
I gotta be in the wilderness with the wolves. Halls and the kids said, Cheetah hair, Brett, let's go.
Never gonna happen.
Yo, Cheetah.
What's up?
Then I'd be able to say Yo, Cheetah, and you'd be able to say, what's up?
That part might. Okay, I'm
Come
gonna
on.
admit something. Good
Okay.
Boy Noah released a song recipe the other day that I didn't like that much. And
Wow, what was it a recipe for?
Oh, never mind. It was an advertisement for like he's got
That's
like a
why
hot
you hated
sauce.
it, because it's
could've
an
been.
ad.
It could have been. Actually, no. He does other ads that I don't mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
The one person who can pull off not pissing off Brett with an advertisement. That's crazy.
But yeah, he released one the other day that I just wasn't a huge fan of. It might have been. Oh no, it's for tomato soup.
He's going to see this
It was for
and
tomato soup.
cry.
I kind of want him on the show. I don't know if he knows anything about pop culture, but
You should start cooking the Good Boy Noah recipes
I
and
should.
seeing whether they're actually good.
I know. It was
Did the tomato soup look like it was good? Like, was it with like some heavy cream and some oven roasted cherry tomatoes and
It was kind of bland
Like-
looking. It was more about, he's like, I made this grilled cheese. Now I need something to dip it in. They're like, make tomato soup. Or the cheetah's like, make tomato soup, bro. It's
Yo,
great.
Cheetah?
But you guys go follow Good Boy Noah on Instagram.
Are you
It's
gonna get
incredible.
your own cheetah?
Yes, it's a cheetah puppet,
You need a puppet.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah.
hand puppet. It's incredible.
What if he guests on this show?
I would
not
love-
the man, just the puppet.
don't threaten me with a good time. That would be freaking awesome. Right,
Ultimate celebrity guest.
right over there, like
You're already fangirling.
in the seat over there. It's just me, you, and then he's there, and then we just have to hire somebody else to do the puppeteering.
The puppet will be the main guest host that day.
We would introduce Cheetah and then Noah. That would be incredible.
Bradley Allen said, "Hello, strong jaw."
That would
Greetings.
be.
It's sort of like just like a Native American sounding moniker now.
What
It's
was-
not unflattering, but it is like, it does. There's something about it where I'm like, is this what we're going with, team? I
What
mean,
was
okay.
I don't know.
What was the name of the medicine man for Ezra Miller? Jasper Strong Bear.
Young Bear.
If you tell me it's strong jaw, I'm gonna.
I think it was
sue
Young
him
Bear.
for
Young
stealing
Bear.
my
Jasper
trademark.
Young Bear. Strong Bear could be cool
and then
too.
like Tokata's mother was Jumping Eagle.
And she's Dakota Iron Eyes. Like Strong Jaw does sound fairly like you're culturally appropriating.
Yeah.
I
You're gonna
didn't-
lead the
I didn't
indigenous
do it.
revolution with Ezra Miller.
That was gonna
I
be
did
my,
not do it. This is
The indigenous revolution of people with no indigenous ancestry
well, you know, it's
by Ezra Miller.
white savior complex is a hell of a drug.
Lane said, P.S. I listen from work on my phone. That the YouTube comment box is hard to check. I'm sorry to the viewers for super chat typos. No, you're fine.
We love the typos.
Most super chats have typos,
that's,
actually.
And it's I wonder if Lane has YouTube Premium. Like that was where my hatred for ads really started, was YouTube. Like
When
more-
they started doing 2 ads at once, I just
yeah.
yeah.
Like once I got YouTube Red, which is now YouTube Premium, I could never go back, and then that slowly filtered outward to like all the. I mean, at that time, I was sailing the high seas a lot back in the day.
you don't do that
I do
anymore.
not
No.
advocate sailing the high seas. Do not do that. I actually do mean that for the most. Like even when we edit, like when we criticize stuff, we go to see the movies. We have to criticize. Like we don't like. I'm not torrenting anything to review stuff. Like there was a. I would have considered it yesterday because like there's a Quantum Leap reboot out now, and I thought it's getting like really like mixed reviews even from critics, which means if the critics are downplaying a Quantum Leap reboot that is like diversity, equity, and inclusion central, no Scott Bakula, I thought it might be fun to review for the show, but they're like, you need Peacock. I'm like, F no, I'm not doing that. Like Peacock offers nothing.
You're gonna need Tubi to watch the Amber Heard Johnny Depp TV movie, so
but that feels like
get
on
used to
brand
it.
because it's an actual TV movie, and back in the day TV movie actually meant something.
It's as authentic as you can get.
Yeah, like
to the old TV movies.
And it should have ads for like Tom Selleck advertising like old people insurance and all the ads you see for
commercial breaks used to be the perfect amount of time to like pop some popcorn and like get cozy.
Exactly.
And now you just have to awkwardly pause it. Like, who has the will to do that?
Well, if you watch old TV shows on streaming, you know where the ad break was because it just stops and then picks back up again. Now they're learning how to finally actually make the shows without the pauses.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Derp said, note, when a woman is asked to pay, the women refer to the men as soy boys. So are the men who pay clients? Dating is prostitution with less honesty. Whoa.
There's people that
when
make...
a woman asks, is this the reference to the streaming thing? Because I think what the sober joke I was making, and maybe it's offensive, was when Brett is asking a woman to pay for his streaming services. Like, I like a trad man. Sorry, Brett. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you know what? We're going Dutch then.
Giving
Fine.
a woman your Netflix login is trad.
I think that, make this...
We know how to do sound bites on this show.
Yes, we do.
I think part of it is like dating is getting to know how people operate and how they conduct their finances and how they contribute, right? So like if you are dating a girl and she chooses not to, or she's like, no, I share an account with whoever, like as long as she takes financial responsibility in a lot of parts of her life, right? That's good. Like you don't want to date someone who, I don't want to date someone who is spending like crazy. But if you're dating a guy who's like, yeah, I have a bunch of Netflix account, but like it's important to me and I use them, like do whatever you want to with this information, but ultimately like you are learning how people conduct themselves.
During the courting phase, you'd be really petty. You go to her house, you log into your Netflix account, you watch something, and when you leave, you log out so she can't keep it on. And you're like, sorry, you only get to watch it when I'm here for the time being. That's how you court.
I love the conversations we get into. How far into a relationship do you get before you go to Panera together, or Noodles and Company?
Noodles and Company.
Then how far into a relationship?
And then how far into the relationship are you before you get the Netflix login?
That is when we will have to
not have this conversation. I have definitely been like dating someone like in the early stage of a relationship, and if they start being like, you can use my Netflix login, like you either feel like, yeah, that sounds good, or you're like, I am not feeling confident in this relationship. It feels like this isn't the time to do that.
One of my favorite things in movies is like the weird stuff that people, maybe it's because of like the environment they were raised in, being rich in Hollywood, when they're like, there's characters in shows that just let people borrow their car. And you're just like, that doesn't actually happen in most places in the real world. Like if you live in the city, you're not just letting some friend of yours that you've known for a couple of years borrow your car. You might drive them to the airport, but you're not borrowing somebody's car.
Yeah, it's all like levels of trust, right?
Yeah.
Like you might find over time, if you're dating someone, like their YouTube is logged in on your computer because like they have used it, right? Like these things happen naturally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We might have to posit this question at the top of the show tomorrow about Netflix streaming and relationships.
Dating culture crisis.
Dr. Drew was just here. We could have had him on.
Yeah, I'm sad that you guys didn't.
And asked
him. He has
him
the definitive opinion on
this question. Have you noticed how Dr. Drew doesn't age? He went gray like.
He invests in his UV.
He went gray like early, and now he's just like a functional vampire. Looks
He's wearing sunscreen. He's being careful.
He knows the secrets.
Or he's paying for treatments, which I respect.
Tyler Hogue said it's a Joe Biden teddy bear.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why it's positioned perfectly to be sniffing my hair. I need to stop watching YouTube said I lost my job, been sailing the high seas for 3 weeks.
I do not judge you, my friend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I do not judge you, my friend.
Hope you find
and
a new
luck
one soon.
Finding work, man. But we ain't judging
no
you here
judgment.
for
you sail those high seas.
Arr, matey. All right. Hannah Claire, thank you so much for coming today.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Even if
like always.
Even if I'm not a huge fan of your opinions on streaming services and dogs getting eaten
by vultures.
What else did we argue about today?
Oh, I've lost track.
Look, I'm just trying to keep all other kinds of perspectives on the table, right? And it's okay if you don't agree with me. I just appreciate the opportunity to have the debate at all, right?
We love to debate here. We love to debate. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on timcast.com. Click on the read tab every day for stuff from me and other writers. And you can find me on Instagram at hannahclaire.b and Gab at hannahclaireb.
And say it with me. And on Tuesdays, you can find me on Pop Culture Crisis at 3 p.m.
You can find me every Tuesday at Pop Culture Crisis at 3 p.m. It is the most important content that Timcast Media puts out, in my opinion.
You can soften that last part.
Except for the newsroom.
You can soften that last part a little bit.
I see how it is.
Look, that's my home base, right? Like, I'm not going to disrespect my nation.
Okay.
Mary, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
That she does, ladies and gentlemen. Got any articles in the works right now?
A few, but it's just like, it's not going well. I'll be honest.
Usually I can tell when you get excited about an article because like you're like I want to write, like you openly tell me you're like I want to write about this. We're gonna cover it on the show.
And if it doesn't click, like it just doesn't click.
So does that happen? Like you start writing an article and it just doesn't materialize?
Yeah, and then that's when I don't tell you about it.
Okay. Like, 'cause, like for me, like that, no, the same thing happens like with editing. Like there would be times like if you're editing a skate section, you'll do 3 versions that just don't click to 3 different songs, or sometimes even to the same song, and then finally on that 4th one, you'll get the one that works properly, but you can never really pick when that's going to happen. It just happens that way.
When it works, it works.
It works. All right, guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dastic. For the show, we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would rather listen rather than watch, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, wherever fine podcasts are sold. We are also on social media. We're on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.